Yes, sir.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, boom.
All right, guys. Welcome to the podcast. It's not solo tonight, although we do have Jay in the potty room.
That's me.
All right. We've got, of course, we've got Lucas over here.
What's up?
We've got Jeremy, of course, from Nerd over here.
up?
So we are going to have a fun time tonight talking about things. I mean, listen, guys, you know how this works. We're going to chat a bunch.
Yep.
But you guys can lead the ship by just super chat us some questions, ask, and think about it. You've got guys. I mean, Lucas just hatched out some green tree pythons. We'll talk about that in a little bit if we want to talk about green tree pythons. Of course, we're going to talk about lots of dirt on Kevin McCurley from
100%,
Nerd.
dude.
So if you guys want to know anything about Nerd, you want to know anything about me, you want to know anything about really life in general. I mean, really, if I can't think of four more qualified people to give life experience.
You're not wrong, dude.
Advice than us four. So I mean,
so you're welcome already.
So really super chat anything you want, because even if you're, if you have marital problems, we'll
get you through.
Lucas can help you on all the marital problems.
Yeah, Lucas has got, and yeah, I mean, if anything you need, I mean, finance,
UFOs, USOs.
Yeah, UFOs. The difference between a UFO. By the way, I do want to know, do people know the difference between a UFO and a USO?
We don't want y'all looking stupid out there, right?
Yeah, we don't want you guys to look silly. But no, it's great to have you guys. I mean, thank you so much for coming. So obviously you were coming in town for a music gig, right?
Yeah, so I had some studio sessions lined up, and literally 2 days before we were coming out, I got a phone call, and they're like, yeah, the artist was having some issues with the studio, and we canceled the sessions.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, I'm still going to need that flight.
Yeah, that flight. Get a fly out there and see my boy Brian.
Yeah. So,
and of course, Lucas, you're from Georgia. So did you fly up to New Hampshire or just here? Or
To here.
Okay, cool. So you just came right in. So that's awesome, man. So so tell me what that's like. I mean, that's the first time you've hatched green trees, no?
Yeah.
And how is that, man? That's exciting.
Amazing. I'm still shocked.
Yeah.
It's just
That's so
crazy
sick.
to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've been following. Obviously, I'll put these guys' links in the description for their Instagrams and stuff like that. So you can follow Lucas's journey of green tree pythons. I saw when they were laid eggs, and then I saw the babies hatching. I was like, yes!
So exciting, right?
I was so happy for him. And I hated you at the same time. I mean, it was like a 50-50. Yeah, this asshole making me look bad. I'm like, oh, they're pickles ain't got no follicles. Yeah. Oh, gosh. No, but hey, listen, I bred green tree pythons when I was younger as well. So, so I have a little bit of experience with it, but it was a bummer to miss this year.
Yeah.
So what's going on at Nerd? What's happening there?
Dude, Kevin's breeding ball pythons, which means we're going to have a lot of ball
It's
pythons.
chaos.
He's
Well, does he know how to breed ball pythons, though? I mean, he's not very good at it, is he?
Dude, well, you want to know what's funny is so one of our other guys, Dan, is he's got a bunch of ball pythons and he breeds too, and he's like, Kev, I'm already up to 10 gravid females, man. I only saw one marked gravid over here, dude. I think you're slacking. So they've been going back and forth. So Kevin's like, yeah, I used to breed ball pythons, but not as good as Dan over there with his 10 girls.
10 females. Yeah, I think about that. I mean, there's obviously Kevin, myself, a handful of the Gourmet Rodent maybe. Mike Wilbanks would be in that list. I mean, just think about there's Justin Kabelika obviously is in that list too. About how many? Can you imagine how many clutches we've
together?
Oh, dude,
together.
That's a number I don't even want to think about.
I think that we produce more ball pythons that are in West Africa.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah. But it's amazing. I mean, I obviously known Kevin since I was young, and we got into it around the same time. I think I was a little bit before him as far as the breeding side of things, but I think he was an avid guy, for his whole life, really. But we've known each other, and he's definitely someone I respect a tremendous amount. I mean, he has unbelievable knowledge, unbelievable passion. Definitely the what I would call the crazy, scientist of mad scientist of the reptile world.
100%.
Anyone that knows him for any length. I always tell people the first time you meet Kevin, you either love him or you hate him.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
It's true. It's so
like
true.
Never what he's going to say. But sometimes I think people take Kevin the wrong way and think he's like arrogant or something like that. But it's just that he's like Lori, where he's not there to impress you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah,
Care.
It's fun. Is like the first time I ever went up to Nerd. Like I had no clue what Nerd was or who Kevin was. This is when I was in my early teens.
Yeah.
My buddy Sean, who was actually just up visiting us. was like, you like ball pythons, you got to go visit this guy Kevin McCurley and his place in Merritt. And I was like, I don't know what any of that is. You know? And so he got me my first private tour there, and it was with one of the staff members at the time. And Kevin popped in for a second and was just kind of like, hi, and then like ran away. And I was like, who the hell is that guy?
He probably had a broom in his hand.
Yeah, I guarantee it, bro.
Sweeping.
Yeah.
Just sweep like, right through the tour.
Oh, that's the owner. And I was like, oh, is he always so short with people? He's like, yeah,
pretty much.
And I was like, oh, that guy's kind of an asshole, you know. But I didn't know any better, you know. And then I always tell people, like, I don't think Kevin really was willing to give me the time of day until I started asking him about hidden gene woma, because it was always a gene that intrigued me as a kid.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, you know, everything was always hidden gene woma granite, hidden gene woma granite. And I was like, I don't see granite in this. How do you see this? And he like grabbed me by my arm and like pulled me into a ball python room, and it's like, see that dot? Like that's granite. And I'm like, what? You know? So he like gave me this whole tutorial, but like after that, anytime I would go up, he was like, oh yeah, like look at this, look at that. And he started like actually, you know, being a human. You know?
Well, like I said, I mean, that's the thing with, you know, Kevin may be short with people. Like me and him get on the phone, forget about it.
Oh, hours.
We'll spend that. I mean, like a short conversation with Kevin is an hour. Yeah. A short one. And sometimes it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I'm like, all right, Kev, I got
a lot to do today.
We got to go. You know, we got some things to talk about. But he's a good dude, man. And I love him. And it's exciting, the stuff that you've got going on. Now, Lucas, I know you were up there recently. Was that the first time you were up, or have you been up a bunch? Oh, so that was the first time you were up too. How'd you like it? I mean, it's crazy over there.
It was a blast.
Yeah, it's wild, right?
I saw Kevin for the first time in the hallway, and I was kind of scared.
Oh, yeah,
I was scared.
He's a scary guy. He's a scary guy, you know. You never know if he's going to just choke you out or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah, you never know. Let's hit these couple supers so that we can keep these guys on track and
you got
keep these chatters going here.
All right, so first is from our girl Castilla. She says, "Hello, Brian, Jay, Jeremy, and Luke. Much love to you all. Jeremy and Brian, I am a huge fan of you guys and Kevin."
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's Lucas, by the way, just not that you knew, but I mean, no one calls you Luke, right?
Luke.
No, just Lucas, yeah. Okay.
Now, there you go.
Not that Castilla knew. I just
well, if you ever let that happen again, I promise you, Castilla.
Castilla, I'll knock
your teeth.
Damn it,
now.
you got there already.
I'll knock your teeth right out your head.
Yeah.
Do that one more time.
Jordan says, "Hey, Brian and team, was wondering if you were going to accept the challenge that Brian Cusco put out to long."
I could tell you. You know, ironically enough, Brian texted me right after the podcast on Wednesday because I had seen what happened was Wednesday morning. I saw, for people that don't know, he put out a video that said like challenging or what was it?
It was like I'm calling everybody out.
Yeah,
I'm
calling you guys out. And it was like me, Kevin, Dave Kaufman, and a couple other people. I can't even remember who else was on the thumbnail. And I didn't watch the video. I just was busy. You know, I didn't watch the video. Not that I mean, I think Brian puts out great videos, but I just didn't get a chance to watch it yet. But I was thinking, oh, yep, there's another video that's, you know,
there's me.
Here's my face in another video title. But I knew that he wasn't calling me out in a bad way because me and him are great friends.
Yeah.
But then on the podcast, someone said, yeah, they actually challenge you to cut your hair off for US Arc. And I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know,
I don't think Kevin even heard about the video. A couple people sent it to me and I was like, it's not happening.
None of
it's not happening.
Especially because, you know, unfortunately, I mean, you know, at least me and Kevin, I don't know so much about the rest of the group, but, you know, we donate more and do more for US Arc than probably anybody in that group. Anyone in the reptile hobby almost, you know, not anyone, but close to.
Yeah,
certainly the top dogs. And it's like, I don't need to cut my hair off to do something.
You
know what I mean? It's like, I don't need to do that. I already donate thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Not to mention 10% of our new company, you know, Reptile Army, is going to US Arc.
Right.
So like, I mean, I'll be giving, you know, probably, you know, $1,000 a month, you know, on top of what I would already donate to US Arc over the next year. So I'm not cutting my hair off. It's not happening.
And if you know, people, since we're dishing dirt out on Kevin, you know, all his ball python breeding prowess is in the ponytail.
So
if he gets
powers
rid of
are gone.
Ponytail,
Both of them
gone.
That's what Noah said. He said, you guys have read the Bible, right? Yeah. I mean, you know what happens when you cut your hair off, right? You know, so but no,
right.
it's you know, listen, one time I think that the only time I considered it cutting my hair off at one point was it was like, you know, for like a Make-A-Wish type of a deal.
Oh, yeah,
and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like going to be raising monies, but then we worked some other things out that didn't work out. Which, by the way, we're doing another Make-A-Wish next month.
Oh, get out!
So,
really?
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Nice,
gonna be
really, really nice. They're going to come visit us here. I'm going to try to take them over to Sea Life Park too.
Oh, that's gonna be so cool.
To see the aquarium and
Let's
stuff
do
like
that.
that. So yeah, really cool.
Corey says, much love from a tarantula keeper in Wyoming. Wife
Nice.
hates me watching your videos as my herp numbers are increasing. 3
Yeah.
cresties, 1 leopard gecko, a beardy, a normal ball python, 130 tarantulas though.
Whoa!
Jeez.
Wow.
Hashtag otterphone.
Yeah, thank you. Well,
There you
first
go.
off, Corey, I'm going to give you, you know, I told you I was going to give you marital advice. Honestly,
Dump the broad.
I'd get rid of her. I'd get rid of her.
Yeah, we don't need bad juju around here.
I
you know?
mean, you know, listen, I mean, one thing I know in Wyoming is there's plenty of women.
Yeah, especially ones
And,
that love tarantulas.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you could get rid of that right now.
Yeah.
Bam, she's out, get a new one
Yep,
in.
next one in.
Maybe even checking a little younger if you want. I mean, I'm just saying, you know.
New model.
Yeah,
Yeah, take it for a test drive.
So Corey, I'm not telling you to do it, but I'm telling you to do it, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying?
Hannah says, hey guys, been too long. I've been working so much. Glad to catch a live. Much love. Cheers.
Hannah, welcome back. I appreciate you. Good
We
for
missed
you
you.
working, man. What do you think she does? What do you think Hannah does? Just take a guess. I don't know.
No, take a guess.
Judging by a previous list, dog groomer.
A dog groomer.
You're probably
okay,
spot
she
on
might be a
it.
dog groomer. I was thinking that she was bartender.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
In a topless club, but she's not going to swing on the pole. She's
Okay.
not. She's got morals.
Okay.
Hannah's got morals, but she is, you know, she's serving the alcohol
Okay.
to the guys to loosen them up so that they give the money, make it rain.
It's a hero's
That's
job.
an
You know
I was
what
going to say
mean?
that's an important job.
Yeah, it's an important job.
Yeah.
So Hannah, you're doing God's work. Man.
We love you.
Keep it up,
That's it for
Hannah.
now, Brian.
All right, so cool. So anyway, so you got, as a matter of fact, that we were talking earlier about the fact that Kevin hatched some T-negative water monitors.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I really want to get a T-negative water monitor. I like the T-positive. I think they're beautiful.
Yeah,
but
for
the
sure.
T-negs are something that I'm really excited about. And you know, because obviously we got Chicken Strip, the Nile
Yeah.
monitor. I just think it'd be kind of cool because Chicken Strip isn't going to ever be a Handley, you're not taking it out and playing with it.
Why not?
Well, I mean, you can. You're just going to bleed.
Yeah.
You're going to
Yeah.
bleed a little bit when you do it, but yeah, we can't quite, you know, get a price.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I told
Let's
the
call him
story.
right now.
We should call Kevin
It
right
would be
now
great, yeah.
and get a price. So I told you the story is that I text Kevin and I said, hey, I want T-negative, and he goes, yeah, I got a mail for you right now. It's hatched. I'm literally holding it.
Got your
as we
name
speak.
on it.
I'm like, awesome. I go, what are you
Name your
asking?
price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said, what are you asking?
Yeah.
And he said, he like H-O, you know, yeah, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
He's like, asking, you mean what am I getting,
Getting,
for? And so I was like, okay, well, what are you getting for? And then he never responded.
Yeah, yeah. And then you ask me like, okay, what are they going for? I'm like, well, you know, they used to go for like 18,000 or whatever,
Yeah.
but he said something about changing the price and then never revisited the topic ever
so
again.
I don't
so
think
we don't know.
I don't think he wants to sell them. I
don't-
think he
dude.
wants to just keep them.
Yeah.
He's
I
just-
mean, we want to keep them all. You
Yeah,
know, but
that's- I
that's
think
not how
that's-
you run a business, though.
No, I know. We were talking about that too. That's the tough thing when you're really passionate about stuff, and that's why I, you know, extricated myself from the sales side of BHB,
yeah.
is because I did want to keep everything. It's just the other day, Jay and I were going through and showing some ball pythons that are still for sale, and we don't have a lot for sale now. I mean, we're down to a very small number, and there was 4 or 5 that I was like, oh my god, I want to just pull.
Why are we?
Yeah.
Why are we?
Yeah.
Let's
getting
just
rid of
raise
this
these
thing?
up, man. You know, like why would we sell these? And that's after selling, you know, 1,200 ball pythons that I didn't look at this year. You know, I mean, like Lori makes sure, like I'm not even allowed in the selling area. You know, she's like, stay away from the selling area.
Yeah.
But I think Kevin's like the same way, right? You know,
Yeah, well, I mean, especially with the monitors, you know, I mean, like the snake. Of course, it's hard to sell anything that you get kind of attached to, but with the monitors, you know, I mean, like they're literally waiting to be handled.
Right.
You know, you walk past a cage and there's at least, you know, a dozen monitors. They're like, please touch me, I love it. You know, and yeah, so you get that, and then you actually get one of them out, and it's like. It just wants to be.
They have a personality.
on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get to really get that connection, and
Yeah.
it makes it that much more difficult.
Yeah.
But you know, you tell Kevin to stay away from anything, and you
Yeah.
know, you're getting your head chewed off, and
Yeah.
you're just adding another strand of hair to the ponytail. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it's difficult, right? Because you know you know we only have toothless. We have Elvis, which is great.
Yeah.
But Elvis came from Nerd, but he was a year old, And he got messed with, I think, he was in the pet shop at the time.
Yeah,
the pet. But he still was a little flighty, just a little bit flighty. He calmed down tremendously here, but he's still nothing like Toothless. The
Toothless
black
unreal.
dragon. I mean, that thing is like, so I think you guys are like, most of yours now are getting into those generations where they're just so naturally docile that it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, these teen eggs and stuff that hatched, I mean, basically like right out of the egg. They're like, please pick me up. Yeah. And it's like, what?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any
so
sense.
cool.
Like I mean, you'd expect the babies to be the most flighty, ridiculous ones because they're like, I haven't experienced anything in the world, and all of a sudden this giant is staring at me, trying to touch me, and it's like, no, please pick me up.
Well, I think it's similar, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, but it's similar to like F1 generation retics to now retics.
Oh yeah,
and it seems like you guys are now getting into enough F generations away from the wild with the monitor lizards that they are becoming just. I think that they're every generation is going to get more domesticated.
100%, yeah. And we're definitely seeing that with the retics. I mean, like even we just hatched out some more pied retics.
And they were cool, or were they?
They're cool. There were a couple that were a little.
Oh yeah, I saw the video. Yeah, I saw the video. Yeah,
but for the most part, for the most part, like you can just go right in and mess with them, and some of the ones that we kept back from the year previous to raise up, they're wonderful.
What's the deal with the high white ones? I mean, is that like a particular genes that make them high white, or is it just polygenic, or is it just random?
I think it's totally random. So I think it was the same pairing this year to produce these, and they were all
and those were low white.
They were all low white. So and that clutch of the high whites was basically all high whites. So it was really bizarre. And, Kev mentioned something about thinking maybe because he incubated this clutch a little cooler, so he was like, I wonder if that could have anything to do with it. We just don't know.
Just don't know. Yeah, because I like the high white ones. Can you punch up high white pied retics? I mean, they're just gorgeous, fucking gorgeous. And
all in caps too. That's perfect.
Yeah.
The whole life's
why are you screaming?
Skyward Pod retics.
Yeah.
Which one you
want? Oh yeah, click on that nerd photo. That's the one you want.
Yeah, but actually the Bob Clark one's way nicer.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair right there.
Oh man.
Oh, that was so good. Yeah, look at that guy. There's Kevin. There's Kevin. Look at that guy.
Dude, okay, so
he's so handsome.
I think Kev would prefer all of his photos to be like this. Like he could be like Wilson.
Like
from
Wilson from Home Improvement. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I think
instead of like howdy neighbor, it's like, what do you want?
Yeah. But I do remember when the first pied retics came in, and I was blown away. I mean, it's just
they're beautiful.
It's, I literally want a pied retic more than you understand. But Lori, I think she may get rid of me, and I don't mean divorce. I mean like get rid of me.
Yeah, feed you to an animal.
Like I might be gone.
Basking.
She's basking it for sure. She's like, RJ's finally big enough.
Oh wow, isn't that crazy?
That's all she's waiting for, dude.
Could I get an 8-pound head
he was feeding
in that mouth?
She just show the video too. Yeah, he was feeding the gator in there. I don't know what happened.
It's a perfect
literally.
storm.
You never know.
Inside she knows. He obviously just fell and hit his head.
Yeah.
And then
all
the
the small bits will get fed right off to the stingrays and stuff, and it'll be
good.
Dude,
Man,
future talk.
That's the future talk. Oh man, you mean the Detroit Aquarium?
.com.
Detroit. Yeah. We need to open up a little like a sauna house. That'd be like the Detroit Sauna Club, and then the Snake House, and then the aquarium, and then
like the cigar club.
Yeah, get the cigar club.
Maybe a haberdashery next to it.
Oh, there you go.
Jay, I gotta tell you something.
I already know.
Do you know this?
Because I agree.
I listen. I didn't even know what a haberdashery was, but I wanted one. Because it sounds so fucking cool. Right?
I want it on my tombstone. Just haberdasher.
It's like a sewing place, right?
Yeah. It's a tailor.
Like a tailor's a haberdasher, like old cowboy days. Haberdashery. And
such a great term.
It sounds like something you have to have.
I kid you not. I swear. I know I'm a quirky dude, man. I swear to God. I wanted to open up a haberdashery, not knowing, and I Googled it, hoping that it was going to be something I could do.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, please, like make it like something cool, And I was like, sewing, shit.
Yeah.
I can't open up that.
Doesn't Lori knit?
Yeah, she quilts.
I mean,
she quilts,
it's close enough.
Do you know that you guys might not know this? We tried to open up a quilting retreat once. About 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. I think I
yeah.
remember.
And so what happened was, this is a tragic story.
It's so tragic.
It's a tragic story. No, so literally there was a church on 5 acres in this beautiful town called Romeo. That's kind of just maybe 20 minutes north of here. So it's a real quaint historical town.
Yeah.
And there was a church on 5 acres and a house as well that was in foreclosure.
I do remember.
And
this.
so they wanted, it was like $250,000, and I offered $100,000 for the church and everything, the house, everything, and they accepted, right?
Oh wow.
And so, but it was contingent on we had to have a variance to change it from a church to a quilting retreat, right? Yeah. And so we put in the paperwork. And by the way, the priest who had been the priest for 30 years on this property, and his flock, I guess, just got so small that he could no longer afford to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And so it went to foreclosure. He had lived there for 30 years. So I was like, listen, you stay in your house. Don't worry about it.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll buy the church. We'll convert this into a haberdashery, and you can stay in the thing for free. You just stay in the house. Don't worry. When you die, I'll take the house back or whatever. You know what I mean? I didn't tell him that.
But he was yours till you die.
But he was getting a little old. So I knew he wasn't going to be around that long.
He knew.
I'm not that nice of a guy. You know what I mean? But the point is that we went to this variance meeting because, of course, you got to go in front of the city council and stuff like that to do it. And there are no doubt like 100 people show up. And they are like pitchforks, man. Like, you're opening up a quilting retreat, you bunch of perverts, stuff. Like, and we're like, what do you think we're doing at a quilting retreat? They're like, this is a front for drugs and this, and we're like, it's a quilting retreat, And so sure enough, we got voted out. I mean, there was 7 people on the
crazy.
This is what was interesting. There were 7 people on the council. One of them, his wife, used to go to quilting retreats, so he
was for it?
recused himself because he's like, I can't vote because, and she also by happenstance owned a quilting shop in town, so he's like, I recuse myself because I can't have I can't vote.
Do anything about it.
And so 4 of the other people voted against it.
That is such a crazy
ridiculous,
story.
Like a
Dude,
quilting.
and
by the way, the priest was there. And he stood up and said, if you don't let them buy this, I'm going to be without a house. I'm going to be kicked out of my house.
And they're like, no way, pervert.
They kicked him out.
So crazy.
Oh, my gosh.
He lost the house, had to move out. Who knows? He's probably living on the street right now. I have no idea.
Jeez.
But that might be extreme. But
All for this.
But just because we couldn't
Dude,
open up our haberdashery.
It was the tattoos, dude.
No, actually, I think I didn't have the
tattoos.
tattoos at the time. I think I was
really?
tattoo-less. I did have the ponytail, though.
Oh,
but,
there it is.
But
There it is, 100%.
Yeah. So twice we have, and I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. I'm going to talk to Jeremy a bit here in a little bit, and Lucas. But
I like hearing about this kind of stuff.
That's a great story.
Twice I've been to city halls for variance. Once was for a snake building. And both times were in small towns, very small towns. The first time was a very, very small town. And I went to 1 or 2 city council meetings where there'd be like 2 people. Much like here, if you go to a city council meeting, well, you can't now because of COVID, but before that, I would go, there'd be like 3 people for the city council meeting. That's what happened. And both times when I pulled up in the parking lot and the parking lot is jammed full of people, you're like, oh, man. This is not, I'm praying.
I'm getting kicked out.
I'm praying there's something else on the docket tonight. It's like, but both times, the snake one was like, the neighbors threatened to sue the city if we built a snake building on the property.
Crazy, man.
And then the haberdashery didn't happen, unfortunately.
Damn.
And then Lori was it was really a bummer because that was like, Lori's followed my dreams my whole life, right? And I was going to let her follow her dreams because she really wanted to do this quilting retreat, which she still goes on. Well, prior to this year, she went on quilting retreats.
Yeah.
She loves it. And I wanted to support her in that. And she was so jaded after this happened, she didn't want to do it. Because I'm like, let's just find a different place. Yeah. And she's like, no, I don't want to do it. So
it sucks.
So there's my haberdashery. I didn't even know it was a haberdashery at the time, but it would have been.
Yeah, there you go. Dude,
it was actually believe it or not. What do we have? I actually have the URL still. It's like like quiltingretreat.com.
I love that you
that.
kept it too.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I can't remember what it's called though. It wasn't quiltingretreat.com. It was like something stitch in time or something
stitches.
like that.
Stitches.
I think it was like a stitch in time or something like that. It was something like that. I don't know. Anyways, let's hit a couple supers.
Yeah, you got it.
Simple Man's in the house.
Our buddy Simple Man, he threw 20. He says, "Hey, hope you're all doing well, and I hope you have a great night."
Thanks, Simple Man. I appreciate you, man.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Simple Man's the rodent guy, right?
I think that's Silver Cash.
Silver Cash. Yeah, I confuse the.
They're both awesome, and they have S's in their names. So sorry, guys.
I'm sorry that I confused.
And we love you
man.
equally. So that's it.
But no pizza for him neither.
I don't think so. I think Pizza Rat Guy is Silver Cash.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Simple Man, tell me if I'm right.
Simple Man, let me know. I'm sorry, my man.
Roberta says, "Hey guys, just wanted to let you know my ball python finally ate after 3 months. Changed how I thawed my rodents. Much love, guys."
Interesting. So what's the advice that nerd gives to people when they're like, my ball python won't eat?
Wait.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's
well, no, I mean, like we usually ask the traditional questions: how big's the enclosure? Blah blah blah. Try to get those specs. But a lot of times when we get calls, it's one of the last ones I dealt with was I keep trying to feed it pinky mice and it won't take the pinky mice. And it's like, no, of course
no
not.
one's gonna. None of them are going to take.
Yeah,
pinky
it doesn't
mice.
want the pinky mouse at all.
It is interesting how people think ball pythons or even fuzzies. Like I don't even. I go to small mice right out
right
of the
away.
egg.
Really?
Yeah. Or fuzzy rats.
Yeah, something.
But it's but I think people think, oh no, they need a baby.
Yeah, no. So we usually tell people like, you just gotta give it some time, especially because a lot of times the calls we get, they've only had the animal for X amount of time, like a short period of time, and they're like, I handle it every day, and it's like, well,
stressing it out.
Yeah.
Speaking of feeding, though, Lucas, have you fed any of your green trees yet, or they're just hatched?
Yeah, they hatched. I want to say Monday.
How many did you get?
I think 10.
10.
Yeah, all 10 hatched. Yeah.
10 all hatched.
This dude had like the perfect experience, dude. He's like, I've never bred anything before. Green tree pythons, go. And 10, it's like 10 perfect fertile eggs and then 10 babies. And you're like, cool.
You do realize it's all downhill after this, right?
He's like, I'm going to ball pythons next because I know there's not much left.
You hit the peak, you're down now. I mean, you're like, I remember when I used to breed something.
And all the eggs would be fertile.
Now I put these garter snakes together. I can't even get babies. I don't know what's going on here. So what are you thinking about feeding those? Because they can be a little tough.
I want to say day-old pinks. I want to try those first.
Are you going to like tease feed, you think? Or probably tease feed, Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When we bred them, I bred them for maybe 4 or 5 years in a row when I was younger, and we had a probably 90% success rate getting them to eat. And every now and then you'd have to assist feed like pinky tails or not pinky tails, but mouse tails or something like that for a few times before they finally get going. So keep me posted on how that goes because and they're all yellows, right?
Yep.
That's sick.
So
yeah.
What was the locality?
The boy was a sarong and the female was Jaipura.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. And nice blues too. They both have really nice blues.
So that's awesome. That's super cool. Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Sammy says, and we can't make this a thing. It says for Lori's defense fund after offing Brian. Love y'all. We're not starting a defense fund out here, y'all.
We got to definitely hashtag Lori's defense fund. I think that's funny.
You're planning your own death, Mr. Brian.
I tell you, Lori's a smart cookie. She probably figure it out.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah,
I think she could figure it out pretty easily. She's kind, she's from Detroit. She's from the city. I mean, she'd be like, "You like these cement shoes? Going in the bottom of the lake."
I just got a pallet of cinder blocks.
You want to help me unload them by the lake?
Exactly. That's why she wants to go to the lake.
House, and it's like a super deep lake too.
Yeah, it's like 95 feet deep. She's like,
"Hey, never finding you, Brian."
Brian never came back home. I don't know what happened. I don't blame. I can honestly say, after 30 years of being together, if she hasn't killed me yet, probably going to be okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to be okay.
And I think that
got the tenure on that
I think I've gotten better too. I think that I pushed things. I don't know.
Harder when you were younger.
You've been with us for a few years now. I mean, am I getting better?
Well, let's see. I think so because when I first got here, we would just go to. Oh, we're just gonna go to Al Macino real quick. Remember, we would just and you would hide it downstairs, but not even hide it. It would be like in a bin at the bottom of the stairs, right? First, just for the night, and then she'd find it. But now we don't do that anymore. Now you ask. So
I do ask.
Yeah, so you did ask about the emus. That's true.
Yes,
I
asked if I just we had some friend of mine brought 3 baby, literally week-old emus.
It was so dope.
To the reptarium last night, and we let him run around the tortoise area, and the fucking kids loved them.
Yeah, we need
Oh my gosh, it was such a hit.
Is there an emu land where we can do something like Gatorland, where we get babies and just give them back?
Wait a second here.
That'd be kind of cool.
Emuland.com. Look at go to GoDaddy. Yeah, I gotta see it. I just gotta see it. I gotta see it. Go GoDaddy.com. Emuland.com. Emuland.com. It's got to be available. It's got to be available. Oh, someone's got that shit.
Damn,
man. They got my dreams, man.
Yeah, now we can't do it.
Damn
you could do
it.
like America if you wanted to reach for a little bit.
America?
Yeah, dude. Bit of a reach, but you could do
That would
it.
be a good shirt to be selling
That
at
actually
Emu
would
Land.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we need that.
Make America great again.
Yeah. But they are so dope. They're like little raptors, man. Like
they're
their
so
face
cool,
was
dude.
crazy.
They're so
Yeah.
cool.
All about it.
But yeah, so I did call Lori or FaceTime Lori.
Yeah.
And
you're like, look at that. And she's like, what the heck is that? And why is it there?
So I really tried to get emus for my backyard once.
Yeah.
I mean, that was dead serious. I really was. Gonna
How
put
many
emus.
though? Don't just say
Well,
emus. What did you want to
I wanted to get a flock.
A colony.
Half dozen at least. Yeah.
A flock. What is was it called a flock of emus? Emus? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what is a group of emus. I don't know if it's called.
It's definitely a mob.
A mob.
Mob.
A
That's
mob.
and I knew that answer. That's right, a mob. So I
mob
wanted
of
a
emus.
mob of emus. I think a mob is not.
Just me and my small mob.
Not too
Yeah.
much to ask.
Dude, is that
Yeah.
Brian Barczyk? He's part of the mob.
Yeah.
Don't mess
Emu.
with him.
Oh yeah, emumob.com. No, I know, don't do that. I'm gonna get a ton of emails tomorrow from people with just like, I bought emumob.com.
You want to buy?
I bought emuthis.com. Yeah, I always talk. Yeah. So anything I'm real serious about, I don't say on the
Yeah, of course.
Interwebs.
I may actually go like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, but I won't say it, and then I'll get it, and then maybe I'll say it later.
Yeah,
know what
there
I
you
mean?
go. There
Like,
you
trust me, because one time we talked about what was the
Scuba strippers.
Scubastripper.com.
Oh, I remember when you guys were talking about that. I was like,
and
what?
actually, someone we know bought it.
Oh,
And,
no way.
And he said he was going to gift it to us, but
And
we
he never
never
did.
gifted it to us.
Well, that sounds about right.
But I mean, yeah, I think I could get it if I had, really,
Probably
if I
so.
really wanted ScubaStripper.com.
Listen, 1 year free entrance to the Reptarium. All I'm asking is for ScubaStrippers.com.
ScubaStripper.com.
He's already had that, so
Oh,
give me the
damn.
side.
Yeah, I tell you, Scuba Strippers.
Christina, she says, Brian, I love your stories. I can listen to them all day. And happy Mother's Day to Lori.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to Lori for sure.
right.
What about me? You know what I always say? Who's more important, the mother or the motherfucker?
Yeah. Yeah, the motherfucker, baby.
You know what I'm saying? Come on now. If you don't have the
mean,
other person,
true.
you're not a mother.
It's true.
You got
That
to
is
have the
true.
mother to get the mother.
That's facts, dude.
That's
That's
facts.
value right there.
My potty
Mother-
mouth's coming out tonight, isn't it?
So motherfucker.com.
That is taken. Guaranteed that's taken. I've checked on that one. But no, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there, including Becky, by the way.
Becky
She's a
threw
mother
some
too.
love, just for love, actually.
Yeah,
so
she's
happy
out
Mother's
at
Day.
Prince Edward Island. I saw some Instagram
very
pictures
cool.
today of her
Crushing it
out
out
there
there?
in the beautiful dunes of the what is that called? What's that lake called out there? I think it's called an ocean, if I'm not mistaken.
I forget, bro.
Yeah, I forget what that ocean is out there. but it's,
Something.
that Pacific Ocean or something.
It's Atlantic for sure.
Speaking of the Pacific Ocean, did you guys hear about the obviously the Chinese rocket that's going to come crashing
did you
down?
hear
I
more
heard
about it?
about it.
I haven't
Yeah,
heard more about
about
it, but
no.
they're
I got it. I got all the deets. You need the deets?
yeah, tell me
Oh,
what's
yeah.
going on
All
with
right,
this
so
thing, man.
as
Is
of
it
right
going in
now-
the Pacific Ocean or what?
Actually, so there's a 7% chance it can land in the United States.
What?
Seven's a
That
lot.
sounds like a lot.
And
That's a
and
lot.
and two. So there's 7 to 8 different trajectories that it could hit. None of them are near Michigan, so we're good.
Okay, good.
Okay.
But
That's
two
all-
of them
what about
go.
New Hampshire?
Two of them go
No,
right to New
Georgia.
York. Two of them go right to New York.
Yeah, that's like the
Oh my
everything goes to New York, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, why is it that every asteroid hits New York?
I don't know.
Yeah, because
I want to see if I can find the paths real
Oh
quick. 'cause
my
they just posted
gosh.
this recently.
Jesus.
Yeah,
you can
these
see-
aren't great ones, but
But you can kind of see the one.
this is kind of the idea. Yeah,
Yeah, this
is
one
that
goes like.
these are all the paths, but like there's 2 of them that go right to New York. I'll try to find it while we're
Yeah,
talking.
if you go
about
up, I think that I saw one right there.
This one?
No, to the right.
this one.
That one looked like the one like tall path one. Didn't that
Yep.
go? Yeah,
This is more like
that's like right to New York. Bam.
so
Dude.
it's still a huge chance it's going to land in the
Yeah,
ocean, but it's
yeah.
not a chance of 0 that it could land right in New York City.
That is crazy.
And the way that this year's been with like, a once in a
dude,
lifetime
come on,
pandemic
man.
and a once in a 25-year solar storm, all that stuff, I think there's a pretty good chance it's landed right in
Yeah.
Central Park.
I think if there's a 7% chance, there might as well be a 99%
Yeah,
chance.
yeah, this year,
In
yeah.
this year, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
it's-
crazy.
It is happening, man, for sure. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's
Sheesh.
crazy.
There
Man,
it
just when
goes.
we were about to take the mask off.
Hey, there goes the neighborhood. Dude.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
crazy.
God. That is wild, man. I mean, that's crazy. Okay, cool.
Let Roses Bird says, Brian, I got my Raycons yesterday and love them.
Hey.
Work is much more pleasant. Another 10-dog day. Sup, Danny? Love you, Twitch.
Now she is a dog groomer.
Dog groomer.
Yeah, she is not a stripper. She's a dog groomer. And yes, Raycons are great. You know what happened to my Raycons yesterday, though? I got so pissed off. Do you know what Raycons are?
Yeah.
Earbuds.
Yes.
By the way,
I thought they were ray guns, but okay.
buyraycon.com/BrianB.
I was trying to buy ray guns.
Yeah, ray guns. I thought there was ray guns the whole time.
So buyraycon.com/BrianB. Save yourself 15%.
Do it
there
now.
we go, right
Do it
now. But anyways, sure. The only thing that I don't like about them, which is not about Raycons, about any earbuds or whatever. They don't like me saying earbuds, do they?
No, it's head. Who knows?
Ear or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is that they fall out of your ear sometimes. And just because I was about to, and it fell down in the crack of my seat, and I could not find it. Literally couldn't find it yesterday at all. I spent like 20 minutes, couldn't find it. Finally, I found it this morning. Because I was like pissed. I'm listening to a new book called Unfuck Yourself. And by the way, good book.
I was like, wait, is that real?
It really is.
That's awesome.
A New York bestseller book. It's a really good book so far, but now I can only listen to it in one ear. But thankfully, I found my other Raycon. So again, not an implication against Raycon. Just the fact that earbuds sometimes fall out.
Suck. Yeah,
they fall out and they get into the weird cracks.
Hollow Moonshine through $2 just for the love.
Hollow Moonshine, that's a good.
Appreciate it. Mama Tomsky, she in the house. She says, "Okay, I'd say the motherfucker means a lot, but you just couldn't handle it." So LMAO. Hi, Bruce.
Well, there's a lot going on in that thing right there.
Dude, that's how it be, bro.
She knows the truth, though. Mama Tomsky always talks the truth. She knows the truth.
Thank Jay says, looking for a place to rent this fall and have a Reptarium Friends Bash. Please help on a spot. Much love. There's tons of stuff around here.
There's tons of Airbnbs in the area for sure. I don't know how long you're planning on staying, how long this bash is, if it's like the whole summer long, or if it's just like a weekend. But if it's a weekend, I mean, there's...
I was just trying to stay at your house, Brian, honestly.
That sounds like Noah yesterday.
I know.
It's like, so Noah yesterday worked out fine, and it was good. But so Noah had a guest on last night, and he just let... Guy drives from Indiana. Yeah. Initially said he was from New Hampshire, weirdly enough. You met him.
Yeah.
And so he just, was just like, oh, he's going to stay at our house tonight. But he didn't ask anybody. He didn't. He's just
he's just
going to stay at our crash at our house tonight. It was fine. I don't care. I could care less. Lori apparently didn't care either, which was surprising. I go, did you tell your mom about this?
Yeah.
I don't really care about that. I just was worried about the dogs killing them.
Which is definitely possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but it all worked out good. So
that's good.
They're both alive, so that's fine.
Yeah, it's great. So let me tell you another quick story.
Yeah.
So, so this is years ago. There's this guy from Iowa. He just, we're chatting on Facebook at the time because it was like, like early days of YouTube, snake bites and stuff like that. Yeah. His name is John. I'm not going to say his last name, but
what's it rhyme with?
I'm not going to say. I highly doubt he follows anything anymore because he kind of fell off years ago out of the reptile world. But anyway, so he this is so messed up, man. So he says, hey, I want to come up and visit, and I want to stay for 4 or 5 days. Can I stay at your house? So I don't check in with Lori, and I go, yeah, sure, stay at my house, right? This guy. And at the time, my mom was living with us, right? And so first off, he shows up, and he's definitely a bit odd, you know what I mean? Just a little bit twisted. So the first thing he does is like, can I help out? And I'm like, well, there's not much. We're just working on snakes and stuff like that. So he starts mopping the floor, right? And so he's mopping the floor, which is good. Cool. Thanks, man. Yeah. Appreciate that. He takes his shirt off. He's got pierced nipples. Long-haired, pierced nipples, mopping the floor. Laura doesn't even know the guy's coming. She walks into the back room, and there's this guy she doesn't know, mopping the floor with pierced nipples, not exactly in the best of shape, you know what I mean? Somewhere you
rocking the dad bod.
Yeah, real like extreme dad bod. And so I go, yeah, oh, by the way, John's with us, and he's staying with us for the next few days. She goes, oh, what do you mean by that? And I go, well, he's staying at our house. She's like, what? He's staying at her house, like this stranger that no one knows anything about. Yeah. So later that night, we go home. I introduce him to my mom, and he's whatever, and we're doing whatever. So we walk into the living room, and my mom's like laying down on the couch watching TV, and he's kneeling right next to her talking. Kneeling like inches away from her, just like having a conversation with her. And my mom loves him, by the way. She's like, still probably talks about him, about how nice he is. But this is I forgot the best part of the story.
Yeah.
Best part of the story, we're after Lori meets him, blah, 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 blah. We're up in the break room, and he's like, I've got a knife in my backpack. Just like out of nowhere.
Just casually.
It's just like, I've got a knife in my backpack. It's like, oh.
And
now this guy is staying with us for 4 days in our house. So Lori, from that point on, said you can never have anyone stay at our house without my approval.
Oh,
you know?
my God.
So of course you could stay at our house anytime you want, Jeremy.
That.
You know, you're always welcome. Yeah.
Roberta says, Bruce.
Bruce. How did everyone know Bruce is here? Did
He's
you
right
know?
here.
He's right there. Yeah.
Well, I know he's right there, but is he commenting or is he?
No,
saying
he's
stuff?
you can see him in my camera.
Oh, that's right. I forgot your camera over there.
Right,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. So Bruce is in the house, obviously. So it's good to see him.
They miss him.
Yeah, I'm like, how do these people know that Bruce is here? But
They sent out a massive text alert.
Yeah, everybody, look, it's Bruce.
Bruce is in the house.
And Becky Gallant also says, "Is that Bruce beside Jay?" And it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's Bruce's doppelganger, Deuce.
Yeah,
that's Deuce.
Yeah, that's Deuce. Deuce.
I like it.
Technically, it's not Deuce. I only got one leg, guys.
Yeah, he's only got one leg. It's not Deuce. And then Benjamin says, "Hey Jay, Brian, and guests, just for love and love you guys. Have a good night."
Thanks, Benjamin. We appreciate you, man.
Hollow Moonshine says, "Brian,
back.
would you ever get a variable rough-scaled bush viper?"
So, you know,
Bruce,
Bruce is giving the yes signal. Yeah, of course I'd love to, you know, and I've had this conversation. We were even talking about it earlier today because you guys are adding a venomous room into. So tell me a little bit about that. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, forget about that. I mean, let's. What I'm trying to say is.
So we've talked about it a couple times on some videos we're working on. Making some more display cages for some animals on the first floor of the building, and we're working on we want to work on some venomous displays. So we got it. Like we've recently got in some new gaboon vipers and stuff like that for some big displays. And one of the biggest things, of course, is we have 7 king cobras, so we need big cages.
Yeah,
for
they
those.
get big. Yeah, Kings get a little bit big. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're working on that right now. So, so some cool things to come.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I've talked about the fact that I'd love to add. You know, obviously Bruce is a big venomous guy, and we would love to add venomous snakes to the Reptarium. But again, you got to know which hill to die on, right? You know, and venomous snakes is not that hill.
It's not that
me.
hill, no, dude.
And Lori would literally Carol Baskin me to death
on a hill.
On a hill, in front of everybody. And yeah, so Lori's really, for whatever reason, and I don't necessarily totally disagree with her. She knows how I am. I get reckless. I get into, like really into things. And I've always said probably if I own king cobras, I probably get bit one day because I'm going to push the envelope because that's just who I am. Like what happens is I'm always like go into things like, I remember, Jay, were you with me when I was like, don't let me touch something when we were doing a venomous snake? I'm like, I'm like on the road. It might have been Aaron Jones, maybe.
Yeah. I think you might be right.
It was Aaron Jones. Yeah. So it was a baby monocle king cobra, or not monocle king cobra, a baby monocle cobra, like a yearling monocle cobra that a friend was bringing over, and Aaron Jones was going to take pictures of it, and I was going to do a little film piece on it.
Yeah.
And I said, Aaron, don't let me touch that animal. I said, don't let me mess with it. I said, just I'll cook it and do whatever, but like make sure I'm cool. Literally 2 seconds after it's on the thing, I'm like
tickling
with it.
You're like, look at his face.
I'm like touching it on the head, and I'm like, it's like I can't help myself. I just can't help myself. And so I know that if I kept venomous for any length of time, I would get bit.
Yeah.
Now you're obviously CobraKeeper Jr. So tell me where that came from.
My dad.
Your dad. So your dad kept cobras.
Yep. I'm back in Florida as a teenager.
As a teenager.
So
do you aspire to keep cobras?
I would soon.
Yeah.
When their laws, because I can only keep native venomous.
Right.
So hopefully their laws change, and I'll be able to keep monocles and kings, depending on my mom, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, and speaking of the Georgia laws, I mean, we just, obviously there's some pretty sad news about South Carolina. Yeah. So sounds like, do you think that so what it is no non-native venomous reptiles in South Carolina, usarc.org. You can check out there you go. You can check out the release there, all about South Carolina. Go support them. It's what, H3056, but it sounds like there was no committee on this, right?
No. So I talked with Phil not long after I saw the thing for it, and basically it sounds like they were able to wedge it in because as long as it's relating to the same topic that the bill is on, they can
Which
make
was
an
like on
amendment.
pigs or something
Yeah,
like that.
but it all goes thrown under wildlife.
Right.
So, it's a wildlife amendment.
Right.
So they were able to just throw it on there. Then there's no hearing, there's no whatever.
No committee.
No nothing. And DNR apparently didn't even
really
know about it.
So does it look pretty ominous, like it's going to probably pass?
It's unfortunately, yeah, it goes to the governor's desk on Tuesday.
Oh, so if the governor signs it, which he's probably going to sign just for the other stuff.
Exactly.
It probably has
It'll
nothing to do with the
pass.
venomous. So now all the people in South Carolina will be screwed.
Big crunch time, so they need as much help as possible getting phone calls in and emails into the governor's office.
Yeah, the only thing we can hope for is the governor a Republican or it's probably Republican. I would imagine.
I think
South
so.
Carolina.
I don't know.
I would think. I wonder if we can find it out.
Yeah.
So
governor of
the
South
governor
Carolina
can't just do one part of the bill. It's like the whole.
No, but
thing?
he can send it back.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he can send it back.
The governor could say, "I'm not going to sign this unless you take this out."
Yeah.
Republican.
Republican. Yeah, I figured that. So I mean, there's a chance. And I don't want to get political, but Democrats, Democratic governors typically will pass more legislation that is anti-animal than Republican. That's just fact. I mean, it's not saying anything bad about either party, but. So, I mean, there's a chance if enough people contact the governor's office, the governor, like you said, Lucas, he can't pass part of it. He has to pass all of it or none of it. But he can send it back and say, rewrite this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sign this into law unless you rewrite this.
Yeah.
But it is a tough thing for a governor to take a stance on venomous snakes.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Because he can't send if he just keeps sending bills back and back and back, he's gonna lose his position eventually. So sometimes they'll just say, yeah, I don't agree with this, but I'm just gonna sign it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy because South Carolina is one of those states where there's like no real legislation when it comes to venomous reptiles. So you're going from basically do whatever the heck you want to like, oh, sorry, if you keep any of it, you're screwed.
Yeah. Now, do you know, is it the way and I haven't read the law, the bill, but is it like immediate, like you got to get rid of them, or is there a grandfather clause, or is there a?
I don't know. It might have been stated. I only like just perused it a little bit and then like was like, Phil, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I tell you what, this year has been wild, hasn't it? I mean, in all the years that I've been doing this, there's never been more legislation proposed in literally 5 months than any year ever. I'm talking like to the factor of 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So I think whatever happened, I think as soon as the administration switched and stuff like that, just the animal rights people just charged. And wow, they're really making some impact. The good news is we've been beating most of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Which has been good. But that's why we need to support USARC. That's why we need to donate. We need to follow along on those alerts. And it doesn't matter if it's like if you're in Michigan or South Carolina, you need to stick up for your other states because what passes in South Carolina is going to eventually pass in Michigan and every other state.
It will trickle down.
100%. And I think one of the big things with this too is, I mean, I don't know what it's like for other states, but it sets a really ridiculous precedent where it's like, oh, you can just add any kind of amendment in if it's any kind of related, and then
that's
there's no hearing or whatever.
That's the government, and that's how a lot of times they get through laws that won't make it through committee. Right. Is they just put it into an appropriations bill and bam, you're done. You know, it's like it's on, and that's it's scary. So I for my brother in South Carolina, we're here with you. We'll support you the best we can.
For sure.
Austin says, how do we 100% know that pieds aren't a co-dom? Because a lot of hets have amazing markers. But what separates the visual from not being a super instead of a recessive?
So this is an interesting thing.
It is an interesting one.
Well, right. And you can tell me this too. Really, to be honest with you, it's just nomenclature.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say an ivory ball python is just really the recessive of the visual het yellow belly.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like really, whether you call it an incomplete dominant, a co-dominant, or a recessive, it really works the same way. It's a 1 in 4 odd, so yes, pieds do have the thing with pieds is that not every pied has a marker, and not every pied marker is a het pied.
Yep.
You can have normal ball pythons that have het pied markers that are not het pied. They're not het pied. Whereas with like yellow bellies and other incomplete dominant, yellow belly is always going to be a yellow belly. It's always going to be there's always going to be a super. But in the grand scheme of things, you could say visual hets are just hets, not incomplete dominant.
Right.
you know, theoretically, it's a nomenclature thing, but it's just, you know, it's just the way it is. I mean, it's like similar to paints and het paints, right? You know, there used to be het paints and paints now, or there used to be, there used to be paints and super paints,
right,
and now they're het paints and paints, you know, because they went from
crazy.
like an incomplete dominant with the super version to now recessive with the
so
recessive.
you want to breed ball pythons?
Yeah. Speaking of paints, I love that project. I'm surprised more people aren't working. I guess Sentinels are the same thing now. And is there another? I think there's another one.
There's one more.
I think there's like a third one that they're all the same.
Yeah.
It's like it's like you know, it's like Cora Glows and bananas, right?
Yeah.
Bananas.
Lesser and butter and
Lesser and butter and
The list goes on.
Calico and sugar. And,
Yep.
Yeah, all
Cinnamon
that
and
stuff.
black pastel.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all Lori ball
The
pythons
complex.
and het readies anthem.
Yeah.
No,
100% the
different
same,
number.
dude.
Yeah. Don't get me started. Start throwing down.
I like when Brian gets riled up, man.
Oh, dude, it's the best.
You know, Donnie and I were talking about that one day because I was showing him the clip where I was like, man, like Brian was like going in.
Fired up, yeah.
And he was like, man, you should do that more. Like it's so intense.
Yeah. Oh, I get.
When it's solo snake talks in here, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we get into it. I you know, like that's the thing about the podcast people don't understand is like I'll talk about anything about anybody. I'm like just really honest on our podcast. You know, like I try not to even be political on the podcast as far as like being politically correct. If I don't like what something like Brian Cusco, you know, he's a great friend of mine, but I'll say fuck you about getting my hair cut. You know, what I mean? It's not anything against him, Brian. I love Brian. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything against him, but I'm not afraid to say that was just a clickbaity type of thing to try to get views. You know what I mean? You know, none of us are cutting our hair off. You know what I mean?
Not one. That's the best.
Not one.
Like, it would be good at
one,
least
you know?
if a couple of you did, but like not one's gonna do it.
The guys who would already have short hair,
right? Yeah. And he lost his cred when he cut his hair off.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
But no, I love Brian, and I'm not bashing him. But I'm
course,
just saying,
yeah.
like, I don't pull any punches, and I'll say whatever I say on the podcast. Whereas on the vlog, I'm much more politically correct. I try to stay upbeat, but this is the real raw me. Got anything else?
No, not right now.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So let me think here. What?
What are we talking about?
Where are we talking? Okay, that was the end of the podcast.
So that was real great.
We're done. Yeah.
See what happens when the super chats stop? It's like all of a sudden we're like,
You guys
Jay.
supposed to carry us through this.
Hey, Jay, what are we supposed to do now?
Talk about the USOs again, boss.
The USOs.
Yeah, USOs. Kevin seems like a guy that is a conspiracy guy. Is he?
Yeah. There are some things I don't really ever get into it. You know, so like I don't really entertain the conversations, or like he'll start talking about some stuff and sometimes I just glaze over because I'm like I haven't read anything about it to have an opinion to even really enter the debate or whatever. But like I mean, anybody who watches the older nerd live streams that we were doing where he starts going on about the health stuff and like starts going on these tangents about, well, it's like keloids and or this or whatever, and it's this keyhole and it shuts off and it does this, and we're all like, I don't. What are you talking?
Yeah,
what are you talking about, dude?
way over my head. Yeah. Well, what's funny, most people don't know this, and I'll say it, which is fine because it doesn't matter. But most people don't know that. Because I told you that I had COVID. Right?
Oh, right.
Like, so I haven't made that like public that I had COVID. You know, I did have COVID recently. I'm fully vaccinated in between, but I talked to Kevin when I had COVID. He called me. And he's like, hey, what's going on? I go, not too much. I said, I'm unfortunately recovering from COVID. And he's like, and what? Like, he's like, just like, and why do I care about that?
Yeah,
you know,
stupid.
like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry.
Could have said, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, it wasn't like how's you doing? You know, you doing all right? He's just like, and what? So what? I don't care that you got COVID.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, New Hampshire, like really, we didn't get hit.
No, you guys didn't get anything at all.
So like, you know, when it comes to hearing the stories of people like really getting hit with it, like we just didn't.
Yeah, see, in Michigan, not only have we, we've told people we've had 4 waves of COVID, which is there's only a couple places in the country that have had 4 waves. Most places had 3 waves, and most places will avoid the 4th wave because of the vaccination process. We were just unlucky that we didn't get vaccinated in time to You know, because we were one of
stop
the, well, if you really look at a graph of COVID, it seemed like about every 3 months there was a spike.
Yeah.
But the spike happened in different stages. When it first started, New York and Michigan were the first 2 that got hit. So of course we were ahead of everyone's 3-month curve, right? Yeah. And so unfortunately we got that last, wave before the vaccine really hit hard.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas the rest of the country had enough time to have that extra 2, 3, 4 weeks of vaccinating, so they haven't gotten hit with the 4th wave like we did. But so here it's been, not only has it been, we've seen so many people die and so many people with COVID, but also we've been super repressed. I mean, up until not too long ago, there were no restaurants or bars open.
See the sun.
Literally, if you went outside,
sun
it
took
was
a
like
vacation.
You had to walk around with an umbrella.
Yeah. Don't let the sun rays hit you because they're going to kill you. They're going to kill you. But no, it was as a matter of fact, we had someone come up for a tour from I want to say it was Texas. It might have been Florida a couple weeks ago, and they were like blown away. And we're much more relaxed now than we were even 3 months ago. Yeah. And they were just like, wow, we just had no idea that like it was so like bad
so
here.
Intense.
I mean, you don't ever see anyone in a store without a mask on. I mean, that's like you
look like an ass if you're doing it.
Yeah,
100%.
If you walk into a store without a mask in Michigan, you're probably going to get into a fight. Someone's going to fight you.
And you're going to feel real bad if you don't get into a fight because you're going to just feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
And, well, they just lifted the mask mandate in New Hampshire not that long ago, but most people are still wearing masks.
Yeah.
There's that I think I've seen a handful of people since they lifted it not wearing masks, but most stores are still like, no, we want you to wear masks and stuff, which I'm certainly thankful for, that everybody wasn't just like woohoo, ripping them off, but yeah.
Although I will say, listen, I think you should wear a mask and you should, protect yourself. It does definitely protect. I caught COVID with a mask on. 100%. 100%.
Brian doesn't go anywhere.
I don't go anywhere without a mask on, and I caught COVID. Right. So thankfully, I was the only person in our crew, family that caught it.
Which was crazy.
Which is wild because I was around everybody, when I was incubating, obviously, that didn't know. But thankfully, I was good. Wasn't that bad. I got over it. Didn't have any too major issues. But we didn't want it really. I didn't want it. To be totally honest with you, why I didn't go public with it was I didn't want anyone to think that I was trying to gather attention because of it. Right? I didn't want people to be like, oh, now Brian's saying he's got COVID so he can get views,
Here he goes again.
There he goes. He just wants some views, you know what I mean? I just thought, it's best just to not say anything. I'm fine. I got over it. No one else got sick. I quarantined for 10 days. People didn't realize Jay did a fantastic job of, Jay was coming in filming the crew, and then I was coming in at night when no one was here, and I was filming my parts for the vlog. So we had a seamless vlog for the
cool.
For the time.
It was an interesting way, like, sometimes like stressful situations make you do things different, and it was interesting for sure.
Yeah, and because I wasn't really sick, I was able to come into work every day just at night when no one else was here, And so the vlog kept going. No one noticed. I thought for sure someone was going to be like, "That the vlog seems weird."
Like all your shots don't got B-roll.
Yeah, there's no B-roll with that, and there's never anyone in the background. Like Brian's never interacting with anybody for 10 days, but no one noticed. It went well.
Yeah,
and so,
Brian asked Kevin for life advice, and Kevin was like, "Tell them all to get away from you when you're filming."
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah, the reason why you saw that was Kevin's advice for me. But it was funny. He was definitely not very empathetic to my plight.
No fucking way, dude.
He was just like
I could have told you that.
He's like, and
why should I care about this?
Yeah,
but I love that guy, man. I really do. He's definitely one of my dearest friends in the reptile world, and I do think
absolutely.
that although he's a little bit nuts, and I'll tell him that to his face, and he knows that obviously. But there's no one I respect more.
You're right.
He's got my highest respect in the reptile world. And not that I don't respect other people, not dissing anybody else, but Kevin definitely does because he has just a different level of understanding of how these animals work, and and that's why he's making monitor breeding, which is not an easy thing. Seems simple,
ridiculous. It really is crazy. Like I was just telling you guys earlier today. We've got like basically 2 incubators full of monitor eggs,
which is nuts.
It really is, you know. And what's crazy is like for a little while we've always been producing monitors, but we hit maybe a little lull where it was just like we weren't necessarily on it for pairing stuff. And one of the biggest things that helped was getting an ultrasound that worked really, really well for the monitors, so we can have the staff that are in there working with them all the time be doing periodic checks on follicle growth and everything. So
do you think that the food cycle is a big thing with them?
Oh,
or is it,
massive. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And and then once you kind of like lock into that, you know, like, okay, well, she just laid eggs, so give her, you know, X amount of time feeding her really, really good. And, you know, she'll recover fine, and then we can get her right back into the cycle.
Was it about every 3-4 months?
That's what I was just going to ask.
Just about. Yeah. So it's really helped us tremendously having that ultrasound and be able to really dial it in, you know, and maybe almost too well.
Pretty soon you're going to be feeding monitors to the king cobras.
To the monitors.
Here's this T negative albino water. Get that thing in the cobra's cage quickly.
Now, how long did they take to incubate? I know the eggs take a bit, right?
6 months.
Wow.
6 months. It's a lengthy period.
That's hard.
That's one of the things that's horrible when it comes to having so many clutches in the incubators. You know, we got ball pythons that are just starting to get ready to drop soon.
They need to go into the incubator.
Yeah, so it's like, man, we got to get these monitor eggs out of here, man. You know, so
just put them in the freezer.
Just shut it in my house.
Don't even worry about it,
just
dude.
freeze them up, man. Don't worry. There's no reason to go for it.
You want to hit a couple supers?
Yeah, we got a couple more.
Hollow Moonshine.
Slow today.
He came back. He says, "Why are garter snakes so underrated?"
You know, they really are underrated.
I agree,
you guys have the red sides, right?
The Infernalis.
Infernalis.
That's sick.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're really beautiful. Really awesome. They're really cool. I think that there's so many. I mean, from oh my gosh, the Florida blues, the real Florida blue, like the real blue ones are amazing. You've got obviously all the Oregon red spotted.
So beautiful.
You know, obviously San Francisco's that no one can have, but they still are whatever. But then, you know, again, the red sides, you've got the I mean, the list just goes on. All the Santa Cruz. I mean, there's just so many beautiful garter snakes, and
they're one of my favorites.
I remember, is Scott Feltzer still around? Do you know Scott at all?
I don't know him. No.
Okay, so he was like the garter snake guru, and can you punch it up for me?
Yeah.
Scott Feltzer garter snakes. I'm just
How do you
curious.
spell the last name?
FEL.
TZER.
Yeah, I think so. That's pretty good. And if you do garter snakes, it'll come up. There it goes, right there.
Wow.
I wonder if he's actually still albinogartersnake.com. This looks pretty old, huh? That looks like old school.
It's pretty old
web
school
site. I wonder if he's still around.
No. It's classic. It's not old school.
It's classic. That's classic. But yeah, I don't know that he's. I mean, but look, that's like a urethristic maybe, or I mean, there's just. I mean, God, there's just so many garter snakes that.
Ooh, these are even nice too. Wow, so sick.
I mean, just look at some of these garter snakes, and he's got like just. He was working with a lot of different garter snakes.
Yeah.
And a lot of mutations of garter snakes as well. So really, really beautiful.
Now, Brian,
it's crazy.
Do you think it's similar? You remember when you said you had friends come from Australia, I believe it was, and they were like obsessed with squirrels?
Yes.
Right? Do you think it's something like that where it's like because we all have garter snakes in our backyard that we just don't give them the appreciation they deserve?
I think so. I really do think so because really, if you think about it, garter snakes are one of the few snakes that are indigenous to all of America.
Yeah.
You know, there's nowhere you can go, whereas like a pine snake, for instance, for us, if we found a pine snake, it'd be incredible. But if you lived in New Jersey, it'd be no big deal, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Or a rattlesnake, when I find a Eastern diamondback, I'm like, oh my gosh. But if you're in Florida, you're like,
I saw another one. Great.
Great. But whereas garter snakes are everywhere, but they're also different. Every species is so different. So I've often said that garter snakes are definitely one of the most underrated snakes.
For sure.
We've got the Scott's garter snakes, which are the Mexican garters that are giant. They get like 4 foot.
Wait, they get 4 foot? I did not know that.
That's crazy, dude.
Giant.
You imagine all that musk.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. It's the largest Thamnophis species.
Wow.
So yeah, it's beautiful but I always say I'm going to go garter snake crazy one day and just buy like every garter snake I can find. But the truth is that
I'm not going to do that.
It's not going to.
It's not going to happen.
Gartersnake.com.
Actually, I wonder if this guys got to have gartersnake.com, right? If they don't, I swear to God, I'm going to buy that
buying it right
now.
And then I will live my dream.
Do you know that I have? Hang on a second, gartersnake.com.
He's like, I can't even take my eyes off.
know.
That's not bad though.
No, that's a brokerage fee.
Oh,
119,
okay.
which means that you have to then go put
You're
it.
not getting it.
Yeah, you're not getting that.
The gartersnake.com.
gartersnake.com.
That's not bad.
Nah, it's shit. I mean, no one's going to mygartersnake.com.
Come on, what do you mean? You gotta show. You gotta get them to the site, bro.
Yeah, no one's going to that.
No one's
shit,
gonna
man.
randomly search anything, bro. What do you mean?
No, that's garbage.
You're bugging.
That's garbage.
Dude, you just need heavy SEO things.
I have NileMonitor.com.
No, you
Really?
don't. You really?
Yeah, I really do have
serious?
NileMonitor.com. Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
That's good. And then I wanted to buy cornsnake.com from Rich Sikowski, who runs Fauna, but he wants 80 grand for it.
And what'd you say?
I'm like, you're crazy. Like,
Yeah,
but,
75.
no, I mean, I think 10 grand may be worth it. I don't know what you would do with it, but I think it might be worth it. But
Just
like,
redirect it to
like,
your own
think-
website.
Right, well, right,
Yeah,
right.
that's what
But
I
I
would
mean,
do.
I'm just saying, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know that, like, I mean, you got to produce a lot of corn snakes to come up with 80 grand.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you're not going to have that much of an advantage from BHP reptiles to, you know,
Right.
which, by the way, go to Google. I'm just curious about this. Just go to Google
Okay.
and then just Google corn snakes for sale. Corn snakes for sale. I'm just curious what comes up.
Slay.
So snakes at sunset, keep going.
BHP.
You're the first right there in that,
Yeah.
that
BHP,
group.
yeah. So there you go.
It's like it knows, man. It's
Yeah.
like it knows you sell snakes.
So that's my whole point is like if you're before Petco and PetSmart even, you know.
That's, yeah.
So
Kudos for that one, dude.
Yeah. So
When you have a
so I mean, well, you know,
3,000
so corn,
blogs.
so corn
Yeah,
snake,
right.
so cornsnake.com wouldn't really help me to get.
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
already at the top. You
it's
know,
not
so.
even there. Yeah, it's not even at the top.
But you know, but I did reach out to Rich, and I thought, like, what are you doing? You don't
80
even
grand.
keep snakes anymore. Why would you care?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
no one's paying you 80 grand for that. Take 5 grand and be happy. You
Dude,
know,
maybe that's the 401k. You never know,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. But nobody in their right mind is buying that for 80
grand.
grand.
Yeah,
you
no.
know, but is Fauna Classified still going?
Yeah. Yeah, it's still
And
going.
it looks the same as it did in the 80s. Or
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, late 90s, let's
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
So the last 20 years, there hasn't been a redo of that site.
No,
In
but
like,
you know, I think I was just talking with a couple of our staff
Nostalgia.
members about it, and I keep saying I think one
What
of
is
the
it,
things with fauna is
faunaclassifieds.com.
it's been the place for like the weird, quirky stuff.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I think you're right because a friend of mine,
yeah.
the
Nostalgia.
Falcon. Yeah, this is like old school,
Hashtag
right?
classic.
For y'all Gen Zers out there, this is what the internet.
This
looks
is
like.
how we bought snakes.
What do we got here? Got anything cool for sale? Well-started mangrove
That's pretty
monitors.
cool.
Those are cool.
Papan.
Ooh, a papoon carpets. Those are nice. Yeah, but this is So a friend of mine that the Falconer, you know, he always is into really eclectic stuff, and he always sends me fauna like
links.
stuff like
Yeah.
like look at what there's what's on fauna, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, why are you looking
And
at
every time
fauna?
I
Yeah.
look at it, I'm like, but it looks the same as it did. Like,
I think that's the same
19
mangrove monitor from the 90s.
95. Well, that's what I keep thinking. Every time I look at it, I'm like, is this like new or is this like from 20 years ago?
I can't
Yeah,
believe people
yeah.
still do this. This
But
is
this
nuts.
is, is there still the BOI on here?
I think so.
what,
yeah.
what is
The
that?
Board of Inquiry, which is like, you know, to find out if people are bad. I don't see it. I don't see the BOI.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't see it. So that's what made fauna really popular in the beginning.
Yeah.
was,
Told you who to stay away from.
Yeah, I told you who to stay away from. So like everyone would always like before you would go buy from anyone, you would go on the BOI.
BOI, yeah.
You know, to
Yep.
see if
Check 'em out.
yeah, you know, oh
Yeah.
man, that guy's a scumbag, you know, and
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
That's
so
interesting,
Fauna
man.
classifieds.
yeah,
man.
but I'm strange.
It's like Craigslist.
I bet you he took it down because he probably was getting sued so much.
Maybe-
Because there was
I
a
mean,
lot
maybe
of
so. There's a
slander
lot of
going
slander.
on.
Oh, yeah,
that was like
100%.
total lies.
Yeah.
You know, wasn't like truths, and I'm sure
Yeah.
people were like, I'm going to sue this fucker.
Solazaki says, love and 420 from the great Northwest.
Hey.
Hey, what's
Appreciate
going on?
you,
Where's,
Honky.
but it's not 420 on any level.
No.
No.
Maybe just in his head.
Previously.
No, he's in 420.
He's
yeah,
in
yeah.
420. Yeah.
A revolving 420.
Yeah.
Did you guys smoke weed?
I used to from time to
No?
time. Yeah.
Okay.
That was really, it comes with being a jazz musician.
Yeah. It's like, I'm gonna go blow my trumpet and smoke some weed.
Yeah,
Can't
it's just-
improv without
Yeah.
marijuana.
Oh, dude, you need to explore.
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
You gotta have that
sonic
flow state.
scape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's recreational here in Michigan, so I'm sure before you hit your
Yeah.
studio sesh, you're gonna have. To
I
go
would have
get-
done it. Yeah, no.
get some gummies.
No,
I
you
do-
want to know
yeah.
what's bad is like, so it's not recreational in New Hampshire,
Right.
But it is in Massachusetts,
Oh, so you can
and
go-
Yeah,
right on the line there's a dispensary,
Oh,
like
okay.
right on the line.
Yeah, so
it's
you
just
could
like
just, like,
teasing
drive,
us
yeah.
and like,
And then there's a
yeah,
cop
okay. Then the
30
New
feet
Hampshire
away.
cop is like right there. It's like, go ahead. Let me look
So
at
is
your
it legal
plates
to
parking.
even
in there.
possess it then in New Hampshire?
I don't
I think it's
so.
decriminalized, but
Yeah,
I don't
but
think you
still,
can.
they'll give you a hard time.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like not even worth it.
Yeah, here I mean 21, you can buy yourself a freaking pound.
yeah.
Jeez.
I
Straight
don't know.
up.
I don't know if you could buy a pound.
No, but close, but you could buy enough to
Get a pound of
yourself,
reefer.
get yourself in a little wormhole for sure.
But I haven't smoked weed since I was 18, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to get me to smoke weed, but I'm afraid of it.
No, we're
Yes.
gonna
I'm
get you. I'm just
terrified.
waiting for the right time to pounce. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Yeah, right,
I've got it. Yeah,
I didn't.
yeah.
I didn't for the longest time, and then a nasty breakup that like had me consistently like on edge. My guys in my band were like, "You're getting annoying as hell. You just got to try this, dude." And I was like, "All right, fine, screw it."
Yeah.
And I would do it from time to time at gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I obviously I deal with a lot of anxiety, and people say CBD or not CBD, but CBD.
Yeah, CBD.
Yeah,
Yeah,
CBD and even THC will help anxiety.
Yeah.
Or make it worse.
Or make it worse. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't want to take the chance of it making it
Yeah,
worse.
yeah. No, that's
But,
fair. That's
but
fair.
I think I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe-
that's why.
maybe
That's
one
why
day.
I don't even. I never say it. I don't try to get you to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, one day if
One day
I
I
wouldn't
will.
mind. And maybe one day I'll try it.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll know the day.
I saw the I think it was Steve O's podcast with Cheech or Chong on it.
Oh,
that must have been awesome.
And,
man,
and the
Tommy
title,
Chong, yeah.
Tommy Chong.
Yeah.
And I think the title was like old weed versus new weed.
Yeah,
Because I'm sure there's a
I think I
huge
saw a
difference.
clip
it's
of it,
next
and yeah, because Steve was like asking him like, do you think this stuff that they're making now is like new stuff? And he's like, no, it's the same old stuff. But back then, man, it was so much better because nobody touched it, man.
Yeah, it was just like like I said, when I was like, now they throw like the shake away, right? They're
Yeah,
just like,
yeah, yeah.
this
Oh,
is
I have
garbage.
like so much at my house that I'll never touch.
Yeah.
Never touch.
That's all you. When I bought a bag when I was a kid, all you got was shake. Yeah. I mean, like to get a bud was like you had to pay like 3 times as much to get a bud. And I was like, no one sells.
No,
buds.
I'm like trying to figure out what to do with it. It's just been sitting in my drawer for mad long.
Well, it was funny when I was in Amsterdam once. I was partying over there, and I went to a coffee shop, and I don't smoke weed, so I wasn't doing. But they literally will have at the coffee shops you can buy bud.
Oh,
And
really?
Then, and then there's just a bowl of the shake that's free to just like mix in with
no
your bud.
shit.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't pay anything for that at all.
It's a throwaway.
It's like, whatever.
Yeah,
And
take that.
so, but I got a couple contact buzzes, but that was about all I and I tell you what, I get contact buzzes. I swear to God, maybe it's psychosomatic. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was at an outdoor concert 2 years ago with Lori.
Yeah, I remember you telling me
and
this.
I was, I mean, you could just smell reefer constantly,
Yeah.
and I was high as hell. Can you get high from contact outside? I don't know.
Secondhand reefer.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I wouldn't have passed the drug test. I know that.
That's classic.
I said we were going to implement drug testing at BHB and Reptarian, but I knew I'd lose half.
Lose half.
Not
yeah.
half. 90,
No,
95%.
90%.
I don't think
yeah.
there's any.
Yeah, I'd be the only one left.
Probably same for us too, man.
Even
You
Lori,
literally
yeah,
would be.
even Lori recently smoked weed for the
Yeah.
first time in
Really?
like 20 years. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, she liked it. She
Hey,
said
it's
it was
wonderful.
good. She told me, she
for it.
said she she had a bad day, and I probably shouldn't say this.
Yeah.
She had a bad day, and she literally shows up with a bottle of vodka. Like Lori
Oh,
doesn't.
shit.
Lori doesn't drink hard liquor ever.
yeah,
you know?
ever.
And she's like, "Yeah, I had a bad day." She plops it down, and she goes, and I go, "You can't drink that, Lori. Like I don't want."
She's like, no, that's why I bought this weed.
No, no, that's what she goes. She goes, I've got to do something. She goes, I'm either drinking this bottle or I'm going to smoke some weed with Noah. And I go smoke some weed with Noah. You know?
Seriously.
And they did. They smoked weed.
That's awesome.
So,
oh
yeah.
man. And then
So,
the
wow.
next quilt was one hell of a
Oh
design,
my
man.
gosh, yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah.
Mama Tomsky's back. She says, hi, guys. Lucas, what color are the green trees that you hatched out? And Jeremy, what kind of animals are your favorite and do you keep?
Yeah, so they were born all yellow.
Yep.
Oh, that's
The
so sick.
boy was yellow and the mom was yellow,
Yeah.
according to my mentor Socrates. So yeah, yellow to yellow equals all yellow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah,
right.
The reds are reds are
Red neonates.
yeah,
Like yellows
reds
and
can
blues,
produce reds can produce yellows, but yellows to yellow can't produce reds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I certainly do keep. I've been keeping since I was 8 years old, and I've got a lot of snakes on top of what I deal with at Nerd.
Yeah.
But yeah,
How is that, man? Like working all day at a place and then having to go home and work with snakes. That's got to be a little bit challenging.
I don't mind it, man, because for me working at Nerd, I do some animal stuff, but a lot of it is like managing. Like I'll
project
you know, I've got like
managing,
weekly meetings with our web designer, and you know, then I'm doing this and doing that, and like working on planning Kevin's next private tour and all these other things. So like I do animal stuff here and there, but a lot of it's running around doing other stuff. So for me, going to work with my own animals, that's my solace.
That's therapeutic.
You know? Yeah, you know. So like I'll work at Nerd from 10 to 8 or whatever, and then I'm in my snake room from 8 to midnight.
Nice.
And I'm like, this is my time to decompress, you know.
I always tell people that same thing about it. Sometimes I want to just work with snakes, you know. Because really, 100%. I don't work with snakes nearly as much as I'd like to. You know? I mean, I'm so busy.
Right. Well, that's what like I was telling you earlier. Like I have recently fallen in love with Mex.
Right.
You know, and it's like it's a species I've always been like, oh, you know, those are kind of cool. And then it wasn't until like last year I was like, oh, we had one at the pet store, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Let me get this. Let me kind of explore the species a little bit. And man, I was like, these things are so cool, man. Yeah. They look so cool. They're really inquisitive, whatever. And the next thing I know, I got 9 of them, you know?
All right, Jay, I'm going to put you to the test.
Yeah, what you got?
You've heard about Max.
Yes.
What's the common name? Come on now.
Wait, a granite Mex?
Yeah.
The common name?
The common name, yeah.
Or just a regular Mex? I just Mexicana. That's all I've ever heard.
So it's San Luis Potosi.
Oh, yeah.
San Luis
Same thing
Potosi.
with like Goinai, Apalachicola.
No, that's my favorite.
These guys make fun of me.
I don't make fun of you. It's a funny fucking word. We always go at like Capricola, Formicola, Pensacola County King Snakes. You know?
Capricola King Snakes.
Capricola.
I just love it. It makes me giggle every time I hear it, man.
Apalachicola County King Snakes.
Well, because the other day we had a clutch and you said like holy moly. I thought you were gonna go like holy Pensacola or whatever the fuck. Like I was gonna be like, damn,
that's a missed opportunity.
We'll get it this year. Don't worry.
Yeah, next clutch, man. Holy Pensacola County.
Dude, Apple so good.
Loving it, man. Loving it.
Sixpence said, "What about rough green snakes as pets?"
So, you know, I think the problem with rough green snakes is, number one, no one's breeding them. So you're getting wild-caught animals. They eat crickets. Yeah, they literally.
Yeah, they're insectivores.
That's really cool. I love them already. These are awesome.
Do you know, weirdly enough, a little trivia for you guys. First snake I ever hatched was a rough green snake.
Oh, really?
Ever.
What?
It was from a wild female that laid eggs.
Yeah.
And I hatched it about 2 weeks before my first corn snake clutch that I actually bred.
Oh, cool.
So, and ironically enough, between the and I worked at a pet shop, right? So there was this, get this clutch of like 4 or 5 green snake eggs, rough green snake eggs. I take them home, and then I hatched those, and then I hatched little Carolinensis anoles, green anoles, and then I hatched my corn snakes that I actually bred. So I actually hatched 2, wild caught, captive hatch things before I actually hatched my first actual snakes.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so rough green snakes mean a lot to me, but they were so small, we couldn't get them to eat. I mean,
they're so tricky, man.
Yeah, so that's the problem. I mean, they're not terrible pets.
No,
but they're just no one's breeding them. I mean, if you do breed them, you're never going to get them to eat. You think green trees are hard,
try here's a
I wonder if you can just punch a baby rough green snake. I don't know if there'd be a picture of them, but
how small they are.
They are. Yeah, I mean, they are. I hope there's a picture. That would be super cool if there was.
Is this kind of the idea?
Yeah, kind of.
It gives you a little idea, yeah.
Little bit. But I think that one's even got a little bit of size on it, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, a lot of them are bigger than that, but
yeah.
I understand what you're saying. They're small as shit.
Tiny.
I mean, that looks
an
so
adult
small.
is like 24 inches.
Yeah,
so like a big adult.
Yeah.
So
Wow. So there's other green snakes you can get that are better snakes probably to keep than rough green snakes, but in the fact that they're whatever. So Matt Baronic, you guys
What's
know
up, Matt?
Matt?
Oh yeah,
you know guys. Yeah, he used to work up there at Nerd.
Yeah, Sassaback Reptiles. He says, "Hey guys, just listening on the drive home."
Yeah, Matt's.
That's my job, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
talking to Matt.
You're good.
I'm joining in, dude.
The harmony was great.
Yeah.
I was talking to Matt earlier this morning. Actually, we were just chatting about some things.
Really?
He's trying to get me some monitors, those
cool.
green monitors. That's the ones I was talking about. I hope he comes through for me on it.
Matt never calls me in the morning. What the heck, Matt?
Yeah, I know.
Just he's too busy talking to Brian.
He's too busy talking to the real,
the real star.
Yeah,
look, his shirt's yellow.
Yeah,
he's a star.
Yeah, I'm a shining bright like a diamond.
Oh, that's another good one. I gotta write that down.
Oh shit, you got an idea for their old reptile army,
dude? As soon as you said it, bro.
yeah.
Lieutenant Tomsky's in the house.
Yes.
Simple Man says, have you ever thought about getting a Chinese crocodile lizard?
Yeah, so it's a very similar thing to a lot of people ask me about, like, you know, crocodile, just all kinds of different. It's basically they hide. You know, so as a zoo, the one thing we try to do here at the Reptarium is have animals that you can see. You know, whereas a lot of zoos don't. You know, I mean, a lot of zoos you go to and they have amazing setups and you can barely. It's almost like it's like you almost have to go in and go like, okay, you know, where's Waldo? You know, like what's in this cage? You know, let's see if we can find.
And
which
like,
is
hey,
fun.
Can you poke that out of the corner for me so I
know,
can see it?
As a matter of fact, the Detroit Zoo, which is I like the Detroit Zoo.
Yeah, we went there.
But I mean, they have like a 15-foot retic that you can't see.
It's crazy.
Man.
Because it's so overplanted and it just hides in the corner. You literally can see maybe a couple scales. You're like, oh, it's over there. You know, this is a giant snake. So like, you know, there's this fine line between like getting, number one, the species of animals that aren't going to hide. We were talking about blue tree monitors earlier, and how I'd love to get some Macuri, but they hide all the time. Out of all of the green or the tree monitors, they're the worst for display.
Yeah.
You know, and even though they're the most beautiful, but same thing with the croc skinks, and you know, they just hide all the time. I mean, you're just going to have a cage and they're going to be burrowed and you're never going to see them. It's kind of like sunbeam snakes too. You know, a Xenopeltis. We have a Xenopeltis and we wanted it to put, but you can't. You know, it's like
you're never going to see
like
it,
even our egg eating snake. It's like I'm about to pull it off because
you never see
it.
It's just buried. You know what I mean? It's a cool ass snake, but if you know, I could put something in there that people can actually see would be way better.
Yeah.
You know?
100%. Yeah.
Becky came back and she says, if somebody was to, you know, gift you a pied retic, then you'd have to take it. It'd be rude not to accept the gift. Problem solved.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I've Becky, you think I was born yesterday? Yeah. You think I haven't tried this? You know.
Well, that's how you know you've gotten better. You asked me before, right? When I first got here, we got Al Macino without asking. You don't have a pied retic. That shows you.
Yeah.
You know?
Trust me. I've tried the whole gifting thing. Like, oh yeah, no, they give it to me for free. You know, it doesn't matter. It's not about the money. It's not all about the money. Right. You know, it's about
the retic.
It's about. Of course, she calls it the reticarium.
Yeah.
Oh, look at our boys in the
our
house.
boys,
yeah.
R&B reptiles.
Reptiles.
They say, just checking in, gents.
What's up?
What's
Yeah,
up,
I've been
brothers?
talking with Ryan. I don't know if that's Ben or Ryan. I love them both, by the way. They were here last weekend on the potty. And not the potty, but the podcast. I mean, they probably went on the potty.
Yeah.
Probably had to go to the potty.
Those pickleballs, you know what I'm saying, dude? They'll get you.
Dude, that looked gross.
It was
hell.
gross as hell.
It looked so freaking gross, dude. Kudos to Mike for dealing with that.
I would never.
One thing I've learned about Ben is that he will always bring something that makes you sick.
Yeah.
You know, that's just part of it. So you just stay away from that stuff. I've learned my lesson. But I've been talking to Ryan a lot about, you know, he's helping me with a lot of crypto stuff. So he's a crypto maniac.
Cryptoholic.
Yeah. He's a crypt keeper.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Galaxy Reptile says, Jeremy, I know you're into carpets, but do you own any rough-scaled pythons? Brian, ever thought about acquiring?
I love Carinata.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's honestly, so I've got probably like 175 snakes, like 16 or 17 different species, and I'm at the point now where like I have like my 4 species that like are my focuses, and then everything else are just kind of like, oh, I like these, I'll get a pair.
Cool collection,
you know, rough scales are high up on that list, you know, for me to get a pair or something within the next year or two.
I think they've come down pretty good, huh? They're not that much.
Yeah, I mean, they usually like around 1,500.
Yeah, 1,500 is not bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. So.
They're a pretty cool snake. I got my first experience with roughies were when I was in Australia.
And you were getting annihilated.
I was getting annihilated. Yeah. Johnny Weigel, who owns the Australian Reptile Park, like he's a character, man. Johnny's awesome. And he just thought it was funny to see an American come over and just get railed. Yeah. He's like, hey, you want to? He goes, you ever check out a Carinata? And I'm like, oh my God, they're one of my favorite snakes on the planet. Cool, and he's like, because he was the one that found it. You know, they thought they were extinct, and he actually found them.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was like for like 40 years they thought they were extinct, and he found the very first ones and then bred them. And so I was like, so he pulls out this big like 5.5 foot male, and it just fucking destroys me. I mean, just like, and they have the biggest teeth, like bigger than green having tree python teeth.
Really?
Because they eat big fuzzy rats. So their teeth have to be big enough to get through that fuzz.
Yes.
Hook
to
into
grab
that
the
skin.
thing. And so yeah, but I was I was just like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
And I was just bleeding all over the
blood,
place.
just
blood everywhere.
Yeah.
But the thing I always tell people is like, it was funny because we pulled that snake out at the show in Homebush, New South Wales. And, it was about 2 hours away from Sydney. And I didn't know anyone in Australia at the time. Nobody. I didn't know not one person. It was the first time I had been to Australia. And what happened was Anthony Stimson, who is the guy that was putting on the show, flew me and Lori there to be like the special guest of the show. And so we fly there, don't know anybody. We spent a couple days in Sydney just walking around, and then finally they had a car pick us up and drive us to Homebush. And so I don't know anyone. And then I met Johnny and a few other guys that were vending, and he pulls that out. And next thing you know, there's like 100 people standing around watching me just get destroyed by this ruffian. And so that's how I made almost all my friends. Because afterwards,
Just
everyone's
getting
like,
crushed.
You got the badge of courage, right?
Yeah. That's bloody cunt over here.
Yeah, it is bloody bitch.
So it's like I became friends with all these guys because I was the crazy American that just got destroyed by a Carinata. So no, definitely high on my list of things to get to.
Yeah, for sure.
V-Dog asked, for nerds, how is the, and I think she meant leucistic cobra doing? Such a cool snake.
Lilith.
Last time I saw it, you guys were doing some emergency care on it.
Yeah, so Lilith is doing great. She still has a little bit of swelling around that eye.
Yeah.
But Kevin has been tossing around the idea that it might be a parasite on the eye, under the eye, because everything else is fine. Like she's totally back to normal.
So she's eating and everything.
Yeah, she's eating great and everything, and that's the only thing that's still been an issue. So he's wondering if that might be the thing.
It's so scary, when you bring in an animal that's a one-of-a-kind animal. It's so rare. It's obviously wild caught.
Yep.
You're gonna deal with potential issues, especially in captivity. And yet something happens to that animal, and you're just screwed. You can't.
Oh yeah.
It's a different thing when you never want anything to happen to your animals, but it's different when you can buy another one.
For sure.
Go like, oh man, it's just heartbreaking that you lost something, but at the same time you could replace it. This you can't.
Yeah, you can't replace.
So I can imagine Kevin had some sleepless nights.
Yeah, it's definitely very frustrating, and it also doesn't make it any easier that she's not easy to deal with.
Right.
So to take her out, she wants to kill you. So any interaction is ridiculously stressful on her because she's thinking that you're going to try to kill her, so she's focused on killing you, and then you get her pinned down, and she's freaking and pissing and shitting everywhere, and you're just like, okay, I just want to get this done, so I can get her back in the enclosure, get her back to doing what she's doing. And
I know we talked about it earlier about some people being like, I can't believe you're doing this without a vet.
Yeah.
But what vet is going to want to do that?
Yeah, for the people who most of the people were saying is like don't know Kevin, right, at all, he's a lot of the vets in the area reach out to him. Yeah. When they can't figure stuff out, so it's like, where the hell are we supposed to go if we were to try to find a vet? You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not.
Well, it's the same
real,
thing even with the vet that we use. She asked me about all kinds of stuff, because she knows I've probably seen 100 times more tragedy.
No schooling's going to give you the experience.
We've seen everything. 100%. We've seen everything. We've seen from egg binding to parasites,
mutant snakes, all kinds
respiratory infections to subocular infections. We've seen it all, and we know kind of what to do to get rid. Because it's our animal, we're going to do everything we can do to fix it. Yeah. So, whereas they just have read in books how many really, I guarantee you my vet has never even looked at a cobra in person, let alone, here, I got a cobra. Can you help me out with this?
It's kind of mean.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I remember a few years back, I got brought in to be a guest speaker at a local community college. They had an intro vet course, and they want to do a thing on reptiles and exotics and whatever, and the guy was like, can you bring in a couple snakes and talk about some simple diseases, and and I was like, well, what's a simple disease, how far do you want to go into simple disease? And he's like, well, talk about snake bites and respiratory infections, and I was like, that's not even scratching the surface of what, and I was like, that's your intro to reptile veterinary work? Okay.
Well, I know a couple good reptile vets, and they've told me everything that they've learned has been on their own. You know what I mean? Like after schooling, they went to seminars. They, you know, they obviously keep their own collections. They now work with other, you know, people that have big collections. So they've kind of learned on their. So they take their, you know, the medical side of things, and they take that and then they apply it to the knowledge they're gaining on their own.
Right.
But you know, we had someone in for a tour last weekend that she was a vet tech for like 15 years, and now is you know, in her last stages of becoming a vet. After 15 years. And that's what she said. She said, you know, you literally are like basically a doctor that's getting paid 40 grand a year. You know what I mean? It's like,
no, you're so right.
You're going through the same, you know, schooling that you know, a doctor is going through basically, but you're getting paid hardly nothing. But you still have the same debt to pay off and all the other stuff, you know?
Exactly.
So it's really a labor of love. And for me personally, I know there's always, when you're like younger and you're like, I want to work with reptiles or I want to work with animals, there's always like, what are the options? You can be a zookeeper, you can be a vet, you can be, you know, there's not a whole lot of options. And so I remember thinking like, maybe I'll become a vet when I was younger. And then I started realizing, you know, really all you're doing is, you know, seeing sick animals,
and dying animals.
Yeah, like don't want to see that.
Yeah, I don't want to. That's not. I don't want to go to work and have to put someone's loved one down every day.
No, and Maria,
exactly,
she did vet tech work for a bit when we lived in Florida, and that same thing. She was like, it came home defeated every day because you'd see. And it's not just other people's animals that they love, but it's like you get to know these animals too, and you love them, and you know, and then you have to put it down or something. And it's just rough, man.
It's the same thing with like wildlife rehabbers or rescues, rescues or whatever. And it's like, man, you know, like a lot of times they talk about stuff from only witnessing the worst side of stuff because that's what they see every day. And it's like,
we had someone
a couple
weeks. We had some couple weeks back talking about wanting to start a reptile rescue, you know, on the podcast, and that's what I told him. I said, you know, God bless you, but you realize the vast majority of your animals you're going to get, it's going to be like terrible,
the worst of the worst.
Yeah, you're not getting good. Like, hey, I got this perfect green tree python I'd like you to take. You know,
exactly.
You know, maybe it's like that meme, right? You know, what people think it is,
what the reality is. Yeah, exactly.
Like you get yourself a decrepit, you know, green tree python that can't even keep its head up. You know?
Exactly.
It's like people are giving you the good stuff.
What do I do with that? Yeah.
RB Reptiles came back and says, don't forget to sign up for the giveaway. The 1K goes out next Thursday.
Yeah, so these guys are doing definitely, if you guys haven't noticed or didn't see the vlog, for people that are subscribed to R&B's reptile channel, they're giving a random $1,000 away to one of the subscribers. So again, R&B Reptiles on YouTube. So go check that out and show them some love, and they're good guys, man.
Daniel says, have you ever worked with Spilotes pilatus?
Yeah, Spilotes pilatus.
Tiger rat snake. Do you cohab them? If so, how large is the enclosure, and what is your breeding process?
Have you guys worked with Spilotes?
So
seems like you would.
We've had them in the shop before, usually for sale.
Okay.
You know, Rob though has kept them for years.
Okay.
And I don't know if he's ever bred them. I think he tried to breed them or something. But one of our other guys, Jake, just successfully bred some
awesome.
tiger rats, and I don't know what.
Does he have eggs or does he have?
He's got eggs right now.
Tell him I want a pair.
Okay,
I want a pair so bad.
I'll let him know. Yeah,
I mean, I love Spilotes, man. They call them chicken snakes too.
Oh, cool.
Chicken snakes, and they're great snakes. Again, another giant colubrid snake, really whippy typily.
Love that.
Really, but black and yellow. You know, so you can punch up tiger snakes real quick.
You know, one of the other cool ones is which you've got upstairs, the puffing snake.
Puffing
just another great display.
Yeah, there you go. So
I have seen these before.
Beautiful snakes, man.
Super cool.
Can't remember where, but
really beautiful.
Probably at Nerd.
It might be at Nerd actually.
Brian Sharp used to breed, and these guys come in. I mean, they're cheap, right? $100 or something like that.
Typically not very
I mean,
expensive.
captives, I'm sure, are more, but I think if you go down to the related images, Jay, like go to
down
the
here?
right. No, yep, that first picture right there.
This one.
That reminds me of what Brian Sharp used to breed. And they were, like I said, they used to be like $100, $150. And he used to get $1,500 for the high yellows.
I can see that.
And he sold like immediate, but I don't know anyone that ever bought them that produced them. So they're just gone now, you know. And
That's
I mean,
crazy.
just a beautiful.
I didn't know
beautiful
Brian
stuff.
Sharp was bred.
Yeah, he did
crazy.
for years. He was breeding boas, ball pythons, and Spilotes. That was like it. That was his only colubrid was Spilotes.
That's crazy.
And, but I don't think I think Brian is completely gone out of the rep. I don't think he keeps reptiles anymore.
Yeah,
which is a bummer. That's another guy I'd love to get on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting guy because he's was around. He was so he's an FBI agent. Retired FBI agent. But he was also one, had the first piebald ball python ever, in captivity. Unfortunately, it was a messed up story. He had bought the first piebald back in like the 70s.
Yeah.
Never bred it, died. And then when another one came available, like in the late 80s, early 90s, whatever, maybe it was mid 90s actually, he bought that one, tried to breed it for it was a male, tried to breed it for like 2 or 3 years, couldn't breed it. And he lived right down the street from Pete Call, not far from Pete. Pete buys it from him for like 20 grand, produces like 5 clutches the same year. Like the same year, the same male. So Brian never produced pieds, and Pete just crushed the pied game. And then of course there was the Sharp strain albino ball pythons that everyone. That's Brian Sharp. So I'd love to get him on because not only does he have he was OG. Really OG. But he also told me a story that he was there the day that Crutchfield got raided. He was actually at Crutchfield's place as an FBI agent, and so they pulled him out. He had a bunch of animals I guess he had brought to Tom to either sell or to buy. I'm not sure what it was, but he said he had a box of reptiles and they pulled him out and were searching all his reptiles and blah, 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 blah. And he said, eventually he had to pull his FBI badge out and be like, hey guys, I'm good. So they let him go, but yeah, that was all part of the Tom Crutchfield raid. He was there. So so he's seen some shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got to talk to him.
Yeah, definitely got to talk to him.
Yeah, he'd be a good guy. And he's retired. I'm sure he's not doing anything. Trying to get him out, that would be super cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Dylan says, I know venomous snakes aren't for everyone, but for your first venomous after training, do you think getting an adult or a yearling is a safer option?
I guess it depends on what species, right?
Yeah.
It's like, an adult copperhead is fine, but an adult king cobra, maybe not so much.
Exactly.
Not so much. So yeah, I think it depends on the species of venomous you're talking about. What would be like the entry level, not rear fang, but front fang,
Oh man.
What would you think?
That's a hard question.
That's really a hard question, dude. Because
there's the elapids or pit vipers. Obviously, so it's like
I think a lot of people. So I have kept very minimal venomous personally, but the most of the people that I know that keep venomous always talk about the predictability of elapids.
Yeah,
in particular cobras.
I agree. Yeah,
particular cobras.
Yeah, so if you're gonna kind of go somewhere where you can learn to read the behavior a bit easier, maybe go the route of a cobra.
Yeah, especially like a monocle, not like a forest.
Not a forest cobra. Yeah, not something that's absolutely psycho.
Yeah, like mental. Yeah. And that's why I think people can do so much with king cobras, right? Is because they're so predictable.
Yeah.
They really are. They have a wild range, so you got to be really careful about the range.
Right.
But you can pretty much, if you get bit by a king cobra, you're just
probably your fault.
You're just being you're just being careless. You know
exactly.
Which I would be, by the way. I would definitely.
Yeah,
be
he's
bitten.
not. You're not throwing shade.
No, I'm not throwing shade. I would get bit 100%, but because I'd be careless. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Whereas I think the pit vipers are scary, and Bruce would be the one to really talk to about this.
Yeah.
The pit vipers are so scary because they're springs. Like
100%.
the boom vipers are that way. They're they don't do anything. They're
like a slug.
Sit there.
They just sit there, but man, you just get in range.
Yeah.
And they'll nail you, you know?
Done for.
Yeah.
Timothy Leisure says, joining late, but how's the albino mangrove doing?
Crowley's doing great, man.
I love it.
Gosh, Crowley.
You know it, though.
Everything, what is the deal? Why is Kevin, everything has got to be demonic,
Dude, it's Kevin, man.
Yeah, soul suckers.
And
it's the metal shit,
Angel
man.
of Death, come on, man.
Yeah, he's got the, Lilith and
even like odium and all those words, are all metal sounding words,
You want to know what's funny? So the Mephisto project.
Mephisto, yep.
So that actually was named by a friend of mine, my buddy Alton, who I went to high school with. He used to come up with me to nerd a bunch of times, and he knew that Kevin was all the demonic, evil thing. So Kevin had just been producing the Mephisto stuff, and he's like, I don't really know what to name this and whatever. and Alton's like, well, why don't you name it Mephisto? And I was like, where the hell did you pull that one out? And Kevin didn't even know what it was. He was like, what's Mephisto? He's like, oh, it's like some demon-y creature or whatever. And he was like, and then it stuck,
It was like,
what the
Mephisto. heck? You gotta love it, man.
Yeah,
he's definitely that's what I love about Kevin. He doesn't care about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he just goes with it.
Doesn't care.
It's
Love that.
Makes the brand hard to push, though.
Well, you definitely are not selling to Christians.
Yeah, for sure. 100% not.
Simple Man says, is there any actual danger in working with dart frogs?
Only if you eat them.
Yeah.
You know,
Which they're delicious, so it's hard. It gets hard.
Pretty
Yeah.
delicious.
I mean, the problem is the frog legs are really small. You got to have a lot.
You got to
of
have
them.
thousands.
It's hard to fry them too because they just fry so quick.
Yeah, and they go right through the screen.
Yeah,
you know, to the bottom, so.
But if you could get that all done, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, you got to remember that the toxicity is really from what they eat in the wild.
Yep.
You know,
Folic acid.
now what you have to understand that you know, all frogs and toads have toxin. You know, every leopard toad in your backyard has toxin.
Yep.
American bullfrog has toxin.
That's why dogs can't eat them.
It's just that, you know, what dart frogs eat in the wild become, you know, and I think they're supposedly, they say there's a species in Panama that's so bad if you hold it, you can be poisoned, and actually potentially fatal even.
Yeah, they eat like bullet ants or something like that, right?
Yeah, so it just depends on what they eat. But in captivity,
they're totally fine.
yeah, they're completely fine.
You're more harmful to them than they are to you.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
So again, if you eat a dart frog or you eat a leopard frog, you're going to probably have the same
Yeah, you'd
reaction.
probably be a little sick. Yeah,
you'd probably get a little sick. Just
but
because
they're
they
cool.
both have it.
They're certainly cool though.
Yeah, I agree.
Super cool.
Yeah, there's so many. I want to get a bunch more for sure.
I worked for a short period of time at Black Jungle Terrarium Supply, and Mike and Rich.
Why you gotta be
phenomenal
racist
guys,
like
but,
that though?
Dude, I don't know. You got to talk to them. but I remember going there when I was like a little kid.
Yeah.
And it like you walked in and you were greeted by this wall of living vivariums.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was so cool. And you just hear like the Pamilio calling and stuff they had to breed. And it was like the coolest experience. They had so many species of dart frogs there. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's little droplets of art.
Yeah.
For
yeah,
sure.
that's the thing. Josh's Frog. Have you been to Josh's Frogs?
I've never been there,
Oh,
but
it's
I've
great.
seen
It's
some of this
Dude,
stuff.
you guys should think about going if you have time. It's only like an hour and a half away.
Really?
Yeah, it's literally like an hour and a half away.
Okay,
from here.
yeah.
You should think if you get to, you guys decide. I know you said you might do something on Monday. I know you can stop here too.
Yeah.
But it's worth the drive. I mean, it's a super cool place
For sure, yeah.
The dart frogs are ridiculous.
Yeah, they got so many.
Yeah, and they've got tadpoles like you. I mean,
millions and
they
millions.
got a tadpole room that's bigger than this whole basement.
Oh man,
And it's just like there's tens of thousands of tadpoles.
Don't split up though in that building because you'll never find each other.
Yeah. Oh man.
And it is haunted too.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
They used to make coffins for the dead presidents.
Yeah,
and
it was
shit, right?
actually it was a casket company. Is the building the casket company? And they actually the casket company that the building inhabits. I think it was 5 presidents. They had actually made caskets for those presidents.
That's crazy.
So it was a really famous thing. You know that the entire town was kind of based on the casket company.
Yeah.
And but obviously the casket company is gone now. But their building is creepy.
Dead-end job,
And I
you know?
asked
Yeah, right.
them- and I asked Zach, who is a very pragmatic guy, very, very pragmatic, if it was is the place haunted? And he said, "Oh, absolutely." so you can enjoy that.
Leverose's Bird says, I did vet tech for 9 years. It's sad having to put pets down.
Yeah.
But the hardest was dealing with owners who refused to put their pets down even when the quality of life was no longer there.
Yeah, no,
And that's what Maria said too.
Yeah, that is really tough. I mean, you know, obviously we've had to put a couple animals down in our life. You know, dogs, I should say, and you know, it was really tough decisions. You know, and you know, we always did make the decision when we felt that their life was painful or not going to go well. I mean, you know, as a matter of fact, my last dog that I still grieve to this day, Artie, who was the husky. You know, we took her into the vet and she had brain cancer, and we paid $5,000 for an ultrasound or a CAT scan to find out she had brain cancer.
Yeah.
And she was actually still anesthetized. They came out and told us, and they said we could wake her up, but she's going to be in pain, or we should, you know, we could just stop it right now. And we said, don't wake her up, man. You know, don't make her go through that last 5 minutes of pain just for us to say goodbye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was hard. You know, I mean, it's hard as could be. You know,
Yeah.
to see the last memory we have was carrying her in.
Yeah.
You know, and her being in so much pain. You know, so it's
it's
like
heavy.
I said, I still have a hard time looking at a picture of that dog because I want to cry every time.
Oh,
'cause
it's
I
a
miss
kid,
her so
man.
much. Yeah.
Yordi says, I actually just bought a Spilotes pilatus from Nerd
Wow, look at
recently.
that.
I think the last one on the site.
There
Look
you
at
go.
that. There you
Damn,
go.
Thank you for that.
That thing is so parasite ridden.
Oh, jeez. Eyes are bulging.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I
not
mean,
at
look at
all.
their king cobra. Their eyes all bulge
dude,
out.
here we
Everything
go.
bulges out.
Here we
and,
go.
It's probably laden with mites and
Dude.
ticks and
All I'm going to say is you can't trust a guy who doesn't braid his ponytail.
yeah.
You keep it all loosey-goosey back there, Mr. Brian.
Damn, I'm sorry, man. No, that's great. It's good stuff. I'm glad you support the old nerdsters.
We love him.
We love it. Yeah. No, I love them to death. So that's awesome. Good stuff.
That's it, brother.
That's it, man. So I don't know.
Right,
Do
now
we have
what?
anything else? Yeah. Do we have anything else we want to talk about? Lucas, what do you want to say, man?
Nothing much, really.
Chilling. Chilling.
He's like,
It's like,
"Not
I'm here. This
much,
chair's comfortable, man.
Getting all the
So are you
information
guys?
I can
Are you
get.
going to any shows this year? Either one of you guys going to go to any shows this year?
I think we're hoping to do Daytona
Daytona and Tinley.
Those would be
Okay,
the
so
two.
Tinley in October.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
not
yeah.
the June.
Not the June. Yeah, no, I can't make the June one happen.
Yeah.
But
I wonder, do you think the June one in Schaumburg's going to go over well?
I'm 50-50 on it. I think the biggest thing will just be, I think it will go well for the simple fact that like just shows are not
Yeah,
really
just want-
happening.
yeah,
People just want
wanna
to
go.
get
Yeah,
out. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest
Right.
thing that's getting people out.
I think the
door.
hardest thing's going to be is no one really has supply. You know, what I mean, like the
Right.
snake market's been so good this last 10 months because of Stimmy mainly.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't like a lot of my friends that do smaller shows are saying they're like 50% vendor down because their vendors just literally don't have.
Products.
They're like,
Yeah.
I don't need
Yeah.
a table because I don't have any snakes left, or I don't
Yeah,
have any
yeah,
lizards
yeah.
left. And I just wonder, June is a weird time, right? Because it's
people are just
really,
getting eggs
yeah,
and-
yeah,
yeah.
we're just getting eggs, and everything from last year is gone.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe it'll be a good social event.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's in Chicago, they'll be pretty strict. You know, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
going to be like, I don't know if you guys saw pictures of the NARBC in Arlington this couple weeks ago. Oh my God, I didn't see a mask in sight. I mean,
Really?
people, every single picture they were French kissing. I mean, you know, I don't know, you know, even the guys, you know. I mean,
Dude, I think it was a different show, brah.
Oh yeah,
look at that.
I was on that website again.
Yeah, my bad, y'all.
I'm sorry.
That was Alexis, Texas. You're talking
No, but
about.
it was crazy. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, literally, like all of the Insta stories that my friends were posting from like the auction, it literally looked like the Tinley auction from years past.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it was. I loved it. I wanted to be there
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
was so cool that you had this like hundreds of people in a room just partying. No, it was like
without a care in the
It's
world,
like the
kind of fun.
pandemic did not exist. Well,
Yeah.
you're from Georgia. I mean, it pretty doesn't exist there, does it?
Kind of.
Yeah.
You still have to wear masks.
Okay, still wear masks. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't think you could catch it in Georgia.
Yeah.
No, that's Florida.
Oklahoma.
Oh,
and
that was
Florida.
Florida.
You
Yeah,
got to go a little
Florida.
further south.
Yeah, Florida and Texas, you can't catch it.
Yeah, that's right. That's
but
right.
no, so I was thinking about going,
Yeah.
considering it, but I don't know, dude. I just don't know that I want to be around some of the people there. You know what I mean?
No, dude, I totally get
you
it.
know, I
man.
mean,
totally get
it sucks to walk into a room with the people that you know have been so shitty to you, you know, behind
Yeah,
your
yeah,
back, you know, and I just don't know. But at the same time, is that I don't know. So what's happening is my friend Scott Smith. Do you know Scott? Big, tall Scott?
I think he was here when
Yeah,
we
he
were
was
here with
here.
Will.
Yeah, exactly. He was
yeah.
here.
Yes, he
yeah,
was,
so
yeah.
he's
The tallest guy in the room.
Yeah,
yeah. 7'2" or whatever.
Yeah, and when
Yeah.
you got Will, you know,
He was 6'10".
Will's-
Yeah, it was the perfect
Yeah,
cell
it's like-
phone signal tower.
Yeah, it's very,
happening here.
very unusual when Will is looking up at somebody.
It's true, yeah.
So he's a tall dude. But so he has a show the Saturday of the Schaumburg NARBC.
Okay.
And he's bringing like kangaroos for like whatever, just to, like
that's
extra
cool.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I've talked about maybe going to his show on Saturday to kind of just help support my friend, you
Yeah.
know, to maybe, help some, because obviously a lot of people are going to be at the Schaumburg show instead of his show, and it's
Right.
kind of a bummer. So he's trying to bring in more stuff to try to draw people there as well.
His show, yeah.
So I've thought about doing that, and then Sunday, maybe Saturday night / Sunday, going to the Schaumburg show and then coming back. But it's just such a hard thing, man, because it's so outside my realm these days, And,
Yeah.
and I don't know, And
Yeah.
before it's like, I've got an idea why I want to go to do. So back in the day, we used to be the only one filming. You know that. We used to run around like we were the only one filming at the reptile shows. Yeah. Now there's 100 people filming every show. So we no longer want to film a show because it doesn't make any sense. But I do have an interesting spin on filming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. That I will not mention on the air.
Okay.
But I really would like to do that because I think it would be a really interesting. I'll tell you afterwards what it is. And so that's the only reason why I'm slightly considering maybe going, but I don't know if I'll go. But I think I'm going to go to the Tinley show in October no matter what.
Okay.
Just because I think that'll be the first maybe really big show that I go to that will be normal-esque. I hope by October.
Yeah, hopefully so. Yeah.
Hopefully it will be.
It'll be my first Tinley.
Really? First Tinley?
I was supposed to go
oh, that's right.
year.
That's right. I remember. Yeah, you were supposed to go.
And they canceled it the day before our flight.
Yeah.
So we still went, and then we drove to your place.
Yeah, you drove here. I remember when you came here for the grand opening.
Yeah.
This was the major spread of COVID happened here.
Exactly.
You know, we had 1,000 people that weekend. No one knew about what's a mask.
Yeah, mask.
Mask. That's what surgeons wear, right? You know,
idiot.
Like, what are you talking
We're all
about?
doctors now. What?
I swear to gosh, if there was 1,000 people here, which there were, I hugged 998 of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he left me out. That's bullshit, Ron. I asked twice. Fucking like, no.
Yeah. But, I mean, who knew, you know, I mean, but that was a wild time, wasn't it? Like, to think back on that. It was like that Friday, I remember like Robin Markland and stuff like that called me. He landed in Chicago. He literally landed in Chicago, called me. It was like, literally, I got on a plane. He goes, while I was at the airport, I called Brian Potter. This is Robin talking.
Yeah.
He goes, I called Brian Potter and said, you're sure the show's going down? And Brian's like, 100% the show's going down. He said he landed in Chicago to a phone message. The show's canceled.
Show's canceled.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Son of a bitch. So he just drove here. You know, he just drove here.
Yeah.
And just like you, so many people just ended up coming here.
That's
and
so
but
crazy.
it was scary because I remember Friday, you know, Tinley shut down, the NBA shut down that day.
And we're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
what is going on?
School shut down.
Saturday, the restaurant shut down Saturday.
Bars.
Because I went out to dinner Thursday night with Miguel and several other guys, and then all of a sudden Friday, and I remember like by Sunday, you know, like all those guys were so panicked. They were all like rebooking their flights. They were supposed to all fly on Monday, and they were all booking to leave like Sunday morning because they're like, maybe the airlines are going to shut down. You got to get back home.
Yeah,
I don't want to be
what the
stuck
hell's
here.
happening.
And it was such. And then of course Monday we were shut down. You know, we got shut down for almost 4 months. So
crazy.
It's crazy to think it's been 14, 15 months since that thing, and
I know,
maybe we're just hopefully slowly getting back to some normalcy here over the next little bit.
Well, that's been one of the things. Like, so for me, even though I'm working at Nerd, I still work as a musician and I still teach part time. And I had, I don't know how many, over 100 shows on the books for 2020, be it in the studio or like live shows, and then teaching. I was traveling to teach, and then all of a sudden it was just all gone. And it was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And my joke with one of my friends was like, man, I remember when I was growing up, I had some people in my family that were like, snakes are never going to help you do nothing. And I was like, they're saving my ass right now, dude.
Seriously. What would you have done?
But yeah, it's that is like the little glimmer of hope is from the musician side. It's like seeing like, okay, some places are starting to open back up and stuff. Like I remember calling you from when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, because I had some work happening down there, and I was like, oh, it's just nice to be making music and doing something and feeling like I didn't waste years and hundreds of thousands of dollars in college to do nothing.
Yeah, well, it's going to come back. Our friend Elise is, I think I told you, is a pyrotechnician.
Oh,
So she's working on 8 giant tours right now, music tours that are going to be like stadium type tours, which is awesome. And I think she said 5 like EDM events or something like that.
Man,
So,
that's awesome.
so that's so it's coming back. I mean,
for sure.
And I you talk about I mean, they have a giant studio that does like Lady Gaga and Justin Bieber. Giant things, and they had nothing for like over a year. And they do all the Vegas stuff because they're in Vegas, so they did all the Vegas pyro
fights
stuff.
and all that stuff.
all the fights and stuff,
just
and it's just
gone.
gone.
Yeah,
just gone.
Well, that was like I was working on my next record, and we got one date in the studio, and then by the time we could get another date, COVID had shut everything down.
Gone.
I couldn't even get the guys in the studio. I was like, cool, well, we're gonna sit on this record for however long.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna, like I said, I'm confident that things are going to look better here shortly, especially if we can continue to get people vaccinated. Yep. I should have wore my vaccinated shirt.
You should have, dude.
I almost put it on. before the podcast, but yeah, it's I think things will get back if we can get to that, 70-75% people in the country vaccinated, and obviously there'll be a big portion of the country that has already got immunity because they've gotten it.
Yep.
And then I think, as a matter of fact, that I think that sometime by next month, we're going to start seeing some massive decline in cases. We're already seeing a huge decline, but I think we're going to see even a bigger decline. But and like I said, Lori loves country music, and like she almost every day is getting new notifications about like September,
shows,
October, November tours. So
that's I got a couple friends who have been like sharing stuff for tours that are happening and everything. I was like, oh, okay, that's finally starting.
And even reptile shows, like I said, like we had talked about, Rami from the Super Show canceled the San Diego and the Anaheim in August, but he announced that the Anaheim or Pomona, I'm sorry, but he announced Anaheim in October was on, so that'll be his first show since January of 2020. So that's good for him. He's a great dude, man, and he puts on an amazing show. Have you ever been out there?
I've never been out there for the Super Show, but it's another one of those like, man, we gotta go. Yeah, Rob and I were talking about it. Like, we gotta go out there.
It's next level. I'm telling you. If you think Tinley's a rocker, I mean, Tinley is more. I should look at Tinley as more of a social event.
For sure.
It's a great reptile. It's a great reptile show, but it's also the best social event.
Oh yeah.
Anaheim's the best show, 100%.
Really?
Pomona, Anaheim blows Tinley away as far as the actual reptile show part. I mean, it's twice the size, and the variety of animals is way better. Because the only thing that I ever bitch about Tinley is it is a ball python show. They're like 90% of the tables have ball pythons. Whereas Anaheim is very diverse. There's tons of cool stuff.
I love eclectic shows.
Yeah, it's super cool, and it's and I bet you they put twice the people through the door than Tinley. I mean, it's a monster show, but it doesn't have the social aspect that Tinley has. I mean, the show itself is cool, but there's no like gatherings afterwards. There's an auction, but it's not very big. It's like small, like a quarter of the size of Tinley.
The Tinley auction,
and it's not from Rami's not trying. Rami does good, but it's just the way the system is set up. It's like there's multiple hotels. There's you gotta what I mean. It's not like that's what makes Tinley so special.
Everything's
it's like
there. You got bananas right there.
You got the bar. You never have you park your car on Friday,
and good.
You don't leave Sunday. You get your car. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You don't have to leave the premises, and that's what makes Tinley so special. And that's the other thing that'll be interesting about the Schaumburg is how that'll be a little bit more disjointed, where there's not like it's not in a maybe in a hotel, I don't know, but nevertheless it'll be a little bit bad. But what we got last one?
Simple Man says, would you ever get a thorny devil if Australia ever became more lax on their exports?
Well, yeah, I mean, it would be great to get thorny devils. They're not easy to keep in captivity, because they eat ants.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, now of course Zoom Ed has the folic acid supplement. If you could do pinhead crickets and dust them, but I don't know that thorny devils will eat pinhead crickets. And they literally eat like 5,000 ants a day.
A lot, yeah. They're constantly eating.
Like 5,000 a day. So, like, I mean, it's very, very difficult. When I was at, it was called the Reptile Discovery Center in Alice Springs. He had some thorny devils, and they're obviously from the area, he catches them in the wild. And they look pretty ratty. Like, you could tell that they weren't thriving in his place, and he's literally in the area where they're from, And, but I mean, they weren't bad, they were cool. That place was really cool though, too, that Rex is his name, and he's got some really wild stuff at that place. And one of my favorite places in the world really is Alice Springs, Australia, because that's the true red centered, desert of Australia. Absolutely. You're in the middle of nowhere, and I mean, we spent like 5-6 days there shooting for Discovery, and it was it was so nice, man.
And Australia is one of those places where I'm like, I have to go to visit.
Well, now I think it's great because they literally didn't get COVID there. I mean, they didn't get it. They were so smart. They're just like, you know what, you
just shut down.
You sent us here as a prison. Now guess what?
Y'all ain't allowed to come anymore.
Everyone's gone. Goodbye. With no visitors here. They were super smart with the way they handle it. Obviously, them in New Zealand were the two really countries that avoided it 100%. Not 100%, but very, very
avoided
good.
it enough till the vaccine came out to be able to be fine.
So now I think that if not now, very shortly, that you'll be able to travel there with vaccine.
Yeah.
And so I think that, ironically enough, I think the first big travel that we'll do, Jay and myself will do, is probably Australia.
Oh, mine's some
If
brekkie.
you need a
couple
third,
jumpers in
third
a brekkie.
seat.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get
Got you,
filled,
mate.
you know,
Jeremy,
let me
come
know.
with us,
Let me
bro.
know.
Four, yeah, we need 4 of them.
Let us know.
You
Yeah.
guys, you guys got to get those vaxes going, baby.
Yeah, let's
you get
go.
those vaxes
I
going.
get my second one at the end of the month.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet.
so
Me
you
too.
get going. Yeah, you guys will be good. But I think that, you know, because it's so open there, you know, as long as you're vaccinated, I think they're going to allow
be a
people to come in
blast.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
And
Oh, hell yeah.
like, but yeah, Australia is amazing, and this will be my 10th time there. My next trip
What are you
there.
bragging?
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, you didn't see him flex? His arms both moved when he did that. He was like,
10 times.
That's-
there 10 times.
Yeah.
See my beach balls this big.
Yeah, 10 times, yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's like really, that's a pretty big milestone to be there. A big
Yeah.
country like that 10 times.
Yeah. I mean, with that flight, I mean, it's like I told people, because it's a 24-hour flight, you figure 50-hour round trip.
Yeah.
And I've been there 9 times already, so at 10 times, it's you're
Yeah.
talking about, you know,
Dude,
500
that's a-
hours.
Is that
That's a
240 hours in the air one way, right?
one way? So that's 500,
huge.
500 hours just on a plane just to Australia.
oh my
you know what I
God.
mean?
Unreal. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to think how, you know, that you've spent, you know, that much time.
Yeah,
on a
do you even
plane,
want to
yeah.
think about how much of your life just got wasted away?
Yeah, just wasted on a plane. You know, it's funny. I used to love the plane ride to
It's 20
Australia.
days. That's
yeah,
crazy.
20 days
20
in a
days.
plane just to
Jesus.
Australia. And that's, of course, I mean, I've been to Africa and all over Asia and
Yeah.
Europe. And I mean, I've spent, you know, months of my life on an airplane.
Yeah.
But I used to like the flight there before I kind of stopped liking flying. What happened was I had a bad flight back from Australia once.
Oh,
that had pretty good turbulence, not just for a little while, but for like hours, like
Oh,
7
man.
hours straight. We had turbulence, and it kind of ruined me for flying. You know, before that, I used to literally, when I flew to Australia, I looked at the flight as almost like a vacation, because it's like you couldn't do anything
can't
but
do
just
anything.
sit back
Yeah.
and watch movies. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm a movie guy,
Right,
So
right.
I would sit back and literally for hours I would just watch movies. You know, I'd watch.
Yeah.
I think the one time I literally, because it was like with layovers and stuff like that, I watched 13 movies.
Oh man.
In a row. 13 movies in a row.
Yeah.
Before I got to Detroit. 13 movies in a row.
Jeez, that's
And
crazy.
but it was great. You know, I was like, this is awesome, man.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
just
yeah.
sitting back, you know, you got drinks and yeah, I don't drink, but you know what I mean, like beverages
yeah.
and all the food you want to get, you know,
That's
whatever.
crazy.
It's really cool stuff. But now I don't like flying so much, so I probably won't enjoy the flight nearly as much.
Yeah. Oh man.
But,
that's rough. Yeah, I'm not a fan of dealing with turbulence.
Oh, turbulence is
either.
brutal,
yeah,
dude.
I'm not about it. One of the times I was going out to LA, we had like right over the Great Lakes. We hit like some pretty solid turbulence, basically like all the way through it. And we're
Indiana.
like, yeah, and we're like, oh, this is awesome. And it wasn't just like a couple bumps
Yeah.
here and there. It's like, no, you're feeling it,
Yeah.
you know, and like you're upset about feeling it, you know.
Yeah.
And I looked back, I was flying with my buddy Alton. Oddly enough, we were doing some shows out there, and he had never flown before.
Oh, so this is first
So
flight.
yeah, and we weren't sitting next to each other.
Oh, so he's
so I'm
freaking,
like,
man.
I'm like, oh man, I wonder how Alton's doing. I look back, he was knocked the fuck
He's
out.
just like,
he was gone, and I was like, you mother.
Dude, I had
That'd be me.
Literally, I had when I went to Australia once with a group. I took a group there on a tour once, with like 15 people, and there was 2 of the guys that were in our thing. Now it's 16 hours from LA to Sydney, right?
Yeah.
You know, nonstop. Obviously, stops in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. They literally fell asleep on takeoff and woke up on landing.
No shit.
Never woke up the entire 16
Oh my
hours.
God.
Like
No,
I
I can't
I'm
do
like,
that.
I can't sleep 10 hours in a bed.
Yeah, yeah,
Let
right.
alone
Yeah.
16 hours
16
in
hours
a
in a
chair,
plane, yeah.
you know. And but
That's
but
gangster.
ironically enough, the last time we flew, Lori and I flew back. The last flight I had was about a week before COVID shut everything down. It was from Mexico.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
and I remember, you know, the flight down to Mexico was great. You know, it was pretty smooth flight, and I was like, this is awesome. Flying back, we got around the Carolinas, and I remember the pilot coming on and saying, we're going to have some pretty moderate turbulence for a little bit here.
Oh,
so
great.
we're going to have everyone sit down and stuff like that. And it was like a fucking roller coaster. Only for like
dude.
5, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm talking like severe turbulence. And I remember like Lori having a cup of coffee, and like the coffee was like hitting the ceiling.
Oh shit.
Like literally, like that type of turbulence. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. And then unfortunately, we got through it and it smoothed out. And I hate when pilots do this. He goes, okay, we're going to be past this. He goes, but we've heard that here in about an hour we're going to hit the same patch a very similar patch.
So then you're all
so
like,
then for the whole hour you're like, oh shit. And sure enough, like an hour later he comes back on. All right, we're coming. You know, coming up on it. Everyone sit down, blah, blah, and it was just as bad, as bad. So we had two. Granted, each one of them only lasts 5-7 minutes.
Yeah,
so it
but
wasn't that
still,
bad.
you're
but it was
not
like,
happy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some people were like crying. Some people were like, you know, like yeehaw. You know, I mean, the whole plane,
ride the wave.
The whole plane
Yeah.
was either yelling out of, you know, or like happy, you know. And I was just sitting there crunching my, you know, I was like ready to rip the seat, you know, arms off, you know.
100%, dude.
But yeah, I'm not good with that at all. So
too
we
rough.
got a few. What's
Yeah,
Becky have to
Becky
say?
says, I won't visit until no mask and hugs are a must.
Oh man,
It's true.
She wants the French kiss too.
Yeah, that's what happens,
That's what
baby.
she wants. She's like, give me the Frenchie.
Give me the Frenchie. I am Duckster says, hey, Brian and Nerd. Our first clutch today, lesser to Purple Pass.
Oh, cool.
Is it Purple Passions?
Purple
Yeah,
Passion,
yeah.
Beat the odds with 3 eggs, all white snakes. Thank you for all the motivation daily, Brian.
Oh, so you actually, well, thank you, and you actually hatched them. That's awesome. 3 eggs. Wow.
Yeah, that's badass.
That's an odds right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
you crushed it.
Yeah, that's good.
Demonic Reptile says, sending
yeah.
love. See you guys soon.
That's another.
Lenny.
That's another.
Lenny.
One.
Yeah,
That's your
my
boy,
guy,
huh?
Lenny.
So
Yeah.
he's going to be here Monday, right?
Yeah.
So you guys going to still come though, even though I'm
Yeah,
not
we're
going to
gonna
be
come
here.
Monday, and then technically I'm here until Wednesdays when my flight
okay.
leaves. So I think we might probably pop in on Wednesday because you're back on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm back on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we might
I'll
pop
be
in
back
on
like
Wednesday or
Tuesday
something.
afternoon, probably Tuesday evening-ish,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
it is. But yeah, that. And if you need to hook up on Josh's frogs, I can reach out to him too. If you guys
That would be
decide
cool.
You should,
It's
Jeremy.
worth
It's
the trip
dope.
if you can
Yeah, I'll
do
see
it.
if I can get the rental extended for
Yeah.
an extra day or two
Yeah.
or something.
And so
yeah.
does Demonic Reptiles and Kevin, they're like tight because they have the
Because
same,
Demonic Reptile.
evil mortal
Lenny-
demonic.
Lenny's come up a bunch of times. So Lenny and I go way back. So Lenny used to live in New York,
Okay.
and when I would go down to do, because I used to do the White Plains show
Okay.
all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, sure.
And when I was doing YouTube, he was, oh man, like I watch your YouTube videos, whatever. And he and I just hit it off, and we've been
Yeah.
great friends ever since. And so he's usually when I go down to North Carolina, I stay with him because he moved to North Carolina.
Okay. Gotcha.
And yeah, so he was like, dude, you're going to Brian's, and I was
I
like,
feel so bad. I'm not going to see him, man. That sucks.
it's all right. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He didn't care about you.
Yeah,
he
he
just
didn't
wanted to see
care
the
about
snakes, dude.
Well, you know what? Fuck you, Lenny.
You ain't allowed to see the snake stand,
Guess
man.
what? You're going to like it from the parking lot, Lenny.
We got nice stickers on
Staring
the
in,
windows.
looking sad at looking at the tortoises. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Matilda.
You can look at the tortoises and Diddy and Dixie through the window. You ain't coming in this place.
Oh,
No,
man.
I'm just joking, man. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm sorry that I won't be here to hang out with you.
Simple Man asks, what is Lucas and Jeremy's favorite experience or animal so far at the Reptarium? And hope you all have a great night.
Thanks, Simple Man.
I would say Pepper.
Pepper,
Ooh,
really?
good choice.
Kush.
That's-
Because
Kush, yeah.
Forest meant so much to me.
Yeah, Forrest
Just-
was yeah. I mean, it's still hard, man.
Yeah, of course.
It's still hard to this day.
Yeah. For me, man, I like too much stuff. I tell other people all the time. I like too much stuff to ever just pick a favorite.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
you know.
me too.
But yeah, I don't think I can pick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't think I can.
No,
pick.
that's totally understandable. That's totally understandable. Yeah, ironically, talking about Forrest, that happened, just the week before. Obviously, the Reptarium opened up as well, so it was really difficult because, obviously, Forrest was one of my dearest friends, and we traveled all over the world together and had amazing experiences, and I really wanted him to see it. You know what I mean? Like, I knew he was super proud of the first Reptarium 1.0, but I knew he was super stoked about 2.0, and he was supposed to be here that weekend, obviously, with us, and it was it's something that I'll always think about, but thankfully we're still great friends with Des and Steve, and I know you guys are going down to visit them, which is awesome. They've got a great place down there, and they're kind of carrying on and doing their own thing, but doing their own thing, which I think is important too. Don't do it for Forrest, do it for you.
Yeah, of course.
And they're doing a great job of it. But hey, listen, Zoo Dreams lives on forever, right?
That's right. It's on my hat right now, baby.
Yep, and that's what we'll always remember him, man, forever.
And that's it, brother.
All right, guys. Well, I tell you, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. You guys were
Absolutely.
great. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it out there in the chat room. Thank you guys for supporting us as always. Again, tomorrow Mother's Day drop. Actually, theoretically, it's right now, but tomorrow, it's a drop on the Reptile Army. So go to reptilearmy.com. Get your mother something.
Get your mother a motherfucker.
Get a motherfucker. If you got a girlfriend ain't a mother, you better want to turn into a motherfucker right now. Get her into a mother.
That's it, Freddie.
Sorry, we got.
V-Dog says, I was wondering if you decided on what you're putting in the new 2 big enclosures you set up at the end of the aisle.
Yeah, so we already have the Boland's python that we got from Nerd is in one of them. them, and then we're looking at some tree monitors for the other
Hell
one.
yeah.
So hopefully we'll fill the second one here in the next week or so. That's what we're already trying to figure that one out. So hopefully it will. But thank you guys. I appreciate you. We will be back on Wednesday with Checking In Podcast. These guys will hang out again. All of their stuff I'll put in the description for you guys. So go give them a follow. Tell them that I sent you. Love you guys so much, and thanks guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, most
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys. See ya.
Later.
Boom.
That's that.
Oh yeah.